What's going on? What's going on? It's your brother outside the cube, and yeah, we back again, we back again. We here to talk about it. We definitely here to talk about it. The myth of black buying power. The myth of black buying power. Now, I remember when I first was introduced to the conscious community back in like 2013, 14. I used to hear those adages to where people we used to say, well, the white dollar circulates 10 times before it leaves out of the community. The Jewish dollar circulates like 20 times before it leaves the community. And the black dollar only stays in the community for about 45 minutes. Silly shit like that. And when I took in that information, I was like, wow, that's interesting. And for a long time, I thought, you know, that there was some kind of truth associated with it. But honestly, there is no truth associated with that. There's no truth associated with that at all, actually. So, what this brother did, Dr. Jared Ball, he actually tried to track down the person who initially made the statement and try to get their methodology on how they came, to say this, and he found nothing. Eventually, he got to the woman who initially made the claim, and he got nothing from it. It was trash. It's just a made up stat, if you will. It's just a made up fucking stat, which I thought was interesting. But I want to start off by just playing, firstly, Dr. Jared Ball on Mark Lamont Hill's channel. And here it is right here. You can check it out, Mark Lamont Hill. And let's take a listen to this, and we'll chop it up.
Power. One of my favorite things to do is to watch you debate Boyce Watkins. And I don't want to call it a debate really because Boyce often doesn't respond. But when the conversation comes up about black,
In other words, Dr. Boyce Watkins, he runs because Dr. Boyce Watkins is a piece of shit capitalist, and he puts black people in trick bags saying, hey, well, you can make this amount of money. You should be invested in this and this and that. No, nigga, no. When you look at the stock market, the top 1% own over 90+% of the fucking stock market. There's no money to be made in that shit. Now, if you want to get like a Roth IRA or some shit and put 100 grand in that motherfucker and hope that the stock market doesn't crash, then yeah. Because see, what we do is as Americans, we look at the stock market and we look at the stock market and say, hey, well, this is a good barometer of how people are actually doing in America. No. When you look at the stock market, when the stock market is going up, and it's always going to go up because that's just what the fuck it does. When you look at the stock market, it's not a good barometer to tell you how good people are doing. It's not. You have to actually look at purchasing power parity. Peace, what's going on, Cuban crisis? You actually have to look at purchasing power parity. So when you look at GDP in the stock market, this is why you have America, which has the highest GDP. But when you look at purchasing power parity of what our money actually, how far our money actually takes us, our money doesn't take us very far. Versus like a person in China, your money takes you further if you were a citizen of China. So this is why America is realistically no longer the richest country in the fucking world. Because if you go back to the 90s and you take a person making $100,000, oh my God, they were living high off the hog. But $100,000 today, No, you're not living even half as good as someone making $100,000 in the '90s, because you have the devaluation of the dollar, you have inflation running fucking rampant, and these things culminate into you not actually being able to live the life, this so-called American dream bullshit that they've sold to you. But what you actually have to look at is purchasing power parity. So when you have the average people in America who are renting, just renting, they're paying on average of $1,500 for a one bedroom. But when you track and look at people in China, and on average they're paying something similar in US money, they're paying like $400 to $500. Their money is stretching way more than ours is. Their money is stretching way more than ours is. So America hasn't been the richest country in the world for going on 10 years now. I think 2016 or 17 is when China actually passed us. They actually passed us. But let me play a little bit more.
Black Wealth, about his economic policies, economic strategies. I see you on Twitter, Instagram, etc. You often push back, and your book has become a target of the critique of some of those kind of LLC Twitter, some of the capitalist Twitter accounts. But you've also used your book as a space to critique them. And so what I'd like to hear you talk about just a little bit, or as much as you want, is sort of what is the myth and propaganda of Black buying power?
No, thank you very much. Yeah, it's been wild. The responses have been wild. I've been even thinking of I should write something about just the responses, the reaction to the book. It's been fascinating in many ways. But the argument,
real quick, what people hear, in my understanding, when I watch the Twitter beast, and I spend way too many hours watching you go back and forth, what I think what people assume is that you are rejecting Black self-determination, that you are effectively saying that Black people don't have the capacity to.
Let me just pause right here, because when I talk about Marxism, Leninism, communism, socialism, this is what a lot of people think. They think, oh man, you just want to take money away from people who have, worked so hard. Number one, millionaires and billionaires, they don't work hard for their money. They have their money work for them. That's number one. Number two, no. Just because I'm a communist doesn't mean that you can't work hard to attain money. Like, yes, you can get money, but what people like me and in my sphere, actual leftists, what we're saying is no, one person should not be able to hold billions on top of billions on top of billions to the tune of hundreds of billions of dollars. They should not be able to corner the market to hold this type of money when there's people out there who don't have a place to stay, who can't purchase food for themselves and their family. And then the retort is always simple. Well, you should get a better job, or you should try to maybe invest in yourself and get different skills. Well, what happens when Microsoft or Amazon, when they lay you off and you have these skills and they lay you off in favor of AI? So your skills mean shit. Your skills mean nothing at that point. Your skills mean nothing at that point because you're being replaced systematically for the only reason for the capitalists to make more money. So your skills don't mean anything. So no, determination, yes, we should. But see, here's the thing. What we must do as a society, we must increase our trust in each other, number one. And number two, we must tax billionaires. So much so to the point that billionaires shouldn't even fucking exist. If you want to have $999 million, I'm against you having that amount of money. But at the end of the day, if it came down and they said, okay, we're going to allow a person to have $999 million, okay, I would be satiated temporarily. because at least I know that this absurd amount, like, because people really don't know how much a billion is. People really don't know how much a billion is. So, for example, I'll say this and I'll continue it. When so-called, when the so-called America, the Americas was found, if you were to go back to the 1400s and you were to make $1 million a day, $1 million a day up until now, you still wouldn't have as much fucking money as Elon Musk. You still wouldn't have as much money as him. Now think about that. 600 years could go by and you still wouldn't have as much money as Elon Musk if you were given $1 million fucking dollars a day. Think about that. He has that much money. Peace, what's going on, brother Hero? He has that much money that he can't spend it all. But we're allowing one person to have this much money. We're allowing these corporations, and a lot of people like to say, "Oh, but they're creating jobs." No, they're not fucking creating jobs. What they're doing is they're creating wage slaves. They're not creating jobs. They're creating wage slaves. But let's get back into it.
Engage in a kind of kujichagulia that will get us some level of liberation, and that seems, in the minds of many, to fly in the face, maybe even disrespect a long tradition of Black people saying we can do for us, by us, you know, in the Black nationalist tradition, you know, and all kinds of traditions. So that's the context I think that people are pushing back against. Now, tell me why they're wrong.
No. No, but that's exactly how what often happens is people hear a snippet or they hear a line or they read a title and they jump to conclusions, frankly. I'm not aware of anyone who has actually read the book and produced a substantive critique of the actual argument. They're arguing against what I've often not said. So I am not opposed to Black business. I'm not opposed to self-determination. I am not opposed to all forms of nationalist and radical revolutionary nationalist activity. I'm simply saying, and what I had initially hoped for the book was that it would help activist endeavors to get past a mythological hurdle that I think inhibits, and I think am increasingly learning and wanting to produce more work to show is been by design imposed as a narrative solution for Black liberation that appeases and maintains and keeps safe white supremacy.
Right. And that's the rub. That's really the rub, is because this narrative keeps white people and rich white people safe, because this mythological dragon of Black buying power, it tells us, it says, hey, you know what, Black people, if you just stop buying Jordans, if you stop buying weave, if you stop buying liquor, all of this other shit, that magically one day your life is gonna change. But in actuality, that's not fucking true. That's not true. You can't save enough money within your lifespan to be on the level of a fucking Elon Musk, to be on the level of a Jeff Bezos. You can't save enough money, and neither can the Black community save enough money. It's just not possible. It's a feat that can't actually be realized. But let them continue.
And capitalism. So the longer story short is, again, that for years, being an activist in other spaces and just involved and engaged in the media, I've heard what we've all heard, this repeating refrain that Black people have now approaching $1.8 trillion in buying power. And then it's followed shortly thereafter by something along the lines that if we had greater degrees of financial literacy, if we saved more, invested more, bought land, and
let me just interrupt really quick. Financial literacy is a sham. It's just another gimmick from the top 1%, the ruling class, the Epstein class. It's a sham. When the ruling class filters this bullshit about, oh man, financial literacy. No, these are the motherfuckers with all of the money. The Epstein class. These motherfuckers hold hundreds of billions of fucking dollars. There is no saving your way out of this shit. It's impossible. Yeah, if your wife makes about 75, yeah, if you make about 65, can you have a decent life? Yeah, you can have a decent life, but you're going to have to work 65 fucking years to save up for your goddamn retirement. And even then, when we look at the rates of inflation and the devaluation of the dollar, nigga, you still can't live in your house. You still can't live here in America because prices are so fucking high. It's a myth. It's fake. Listen, if you want to retire on, like, let's say you have like $600,000-$700,000, that's not enough for you to retire here in America. You have to go abroad. You have to go to China. You have to go to the Philippines. You have to go to Mexico. You cannot retire here on $600,000. It's not enough money. Especially if you have kids, because from time to time you may have to help them out or whatever the case may be. That's not enough for you to retire, especially if you're a person that's trying to live to 80, 85. So you retire at 65 and you want to live to 80, 85? That's not enough money. It's not enough money.
Stock instead of rims, weed, and hair, and whatever, that we would be able to use those resources to develop in a very independent and revolutionary way an independent Black economy and solve all of these issues, including income and wealth gaps.
Is there any value in that, right? So, I mean, I think about the Black nationalist tradition. I'm thinking specifically, let me be more specific, not just Black nationalist tradition. I'm thinking specifically about groups like the Nation of Islam, right? Who have always had a conservative underpinning, right? They believe in capitalism. They believe in their right-wing moralism and conservative in lots of ways. Maybe I'm just becoming old, but I do see sometimes some value in those arguments, not to negate the issues of political economy, not to negate the critique of capitalism.
No. There is value in that. No one sitting up here saying, hey, you shouldn't save anything because of capitalism. You should just say fuck it and don't put anything towards your retirement. No one's saying that. So even when he mentions the NOI and all of that, bro, listen, nobody's saying that you shouldn't save. But what we are saying is that we have 981 billionaires that are soaking up so much of the fucking money to where you can't retire comfortably. You can't retire comfortably. There should be programs like everybody notice that you have old folks' homes and shit like that, to where people have to downsize it and they can't die in their fucking house. They have to sell their house and then boom, they can get about another $300,000 or $400,000 off of that, and they'll move into retirement homes and apartments and shit like that. But the reason why this is the case is because you have 981 billion millionaires soaking up so much of the fucking money. If these people were taxed at a 90% rate, these people would still be able to buy every yacht they ever looked at. They would still be able to purchase any $20 to $30 million home they ever desired. They would still be able to do exactly what they're doing now, but if they pay more taxes, and those taxes can go to what? Instead of saying, hey, look at your mama, your grandmama, and all of that shit. Motherfuckers is paying $20,000, $30,000 in fucking taxes a year. That money that these people are making, soak it up. And see, here's the worst part about it. They don't spend the money. They hoard the shit. If you look at a person that had 50 fucking cats, you would say, damn, what the fuck are you doing with all these goddamn cats? If you saw a person that had in their house, you go in there and they had fucking 2,000 fucking VHS tapes, you'd be like, why the fuck you got so many tapes? But all of a sudden, when it becomes money, we look at it differently. We just, our brains just get fried and fricasseed. We don't look at the shit. We don't say, damn, why the fuck is Jeff Bezos holding on to $320 billion fucking dollars? Why the fuck is Elon Musk holding over damn near $1 trillion fucking dollars away from the fucking United States people? Why the fuck is he holding on this money? Why is he holding all of this money? He's a hoarder. Let this shit go. No, we don't think that way. We don't think that way. So yes, in this current economy, the way how it's set up, yes, you should save. Why? Because you have to save. But along with savings, there should be other avenues to assist seniors, to assist young folks who want to get into uh uh college and things of that nature. Like, come on. I just saw a video today that shows how we're losing teenagers. And what does that mean? Teenagers are at an all-time low in America. What does that mean? That means that we have less people that are gonna get in, that are gonna get into the market of working to actually help seniors get around and things of that nature, because everything now is the gig economy. Oh, let me DoorDash, let me Uber, and all of this other shit. People are not going into healthcare because they're trying to make a buck. But let's go.
But the truth is, if people generally were to spend less money on things they don't need, if they were to generally not fetishize capitalism, if they generally spent money in their own communities, our lives would be substantively better. And so it doesn't actually solve the problem that is produced by capitalism as our mode of production. As long as you're in the context of a class defending state, you're going to have all kinds of problems around mass incarceration, around, I mean, all the things, right? But if I were trying to organize people, and it seems like all the, the nation, the Panthers, as we organize people across these traditions, there is some value to teaching discipline, to teaching community investment, things that don't solve the ultimate problem, but maybe get people into a space to even hear the critique you're offering. Do you worry ever that if we go too far to the this don't really work ultimately argument, we don't even get people into the penultimate space?
I have worried about that. And that's why initially I wrote this book with every effort to suppress my actual politics, because I didn't want there to be a distraction with what are my actual politics. I just wanted people to focus on this one myth. So my point is that so ultimately what I'm trying to say is that it's not that there's no value in all that you've described. It's that the problem becomes this is not used as a way to get people into a room to teach more about how the economy actually works and what could be done to upset it, or what our relationship is to it and what could be done to upset that. It's used as a final sort of culminating political goal that will lead us to our salvation. So I'm simply saying there's this long tradition that is as long as this has been argued that has been showing that it doesn't work. So it's and largely because a capitalist economy has already established through what Marx called the primitive accumulation of wealth, has already captured all of the primary and dominant mechanisms for producing wealth in this society. So that's one part of it. So starting businesses is not a solution. It's also not how the wealth of this society was created by those who hold it. So they're even advocating that we do something that others have never done.
Right. So they're asking us to do something that the people that now hold the wealth, they're asking us to do something that they've never done. Because America wasn't built on just, people who were hardy and were just working hard. No, America wasn't built that way. This shit was built on slavery. It was built on free labor. This is what the fuck the shit was built on. Now, fast forward 200 fucking years to where you have an average of 30 to 40% of people who have their billions and billions. The shit is being passed down to them. 30 to 40% of people that have millions and billions of dollars, this shit is being passed down to them. These are your Nepo babies. And they're asking you, and we're not asking, but they're telling you, well, if you want to survive, then you need to stop buying lattes and stop buying fucking beer and liquor. Like, get the fuck out of here.
They didn't start by circulating their dollars and starting small businesses and supporting within their community. The capitalist accumulation was violent. It was land grabbing, genocidal, enslaving. It was war. It was suppression of other economies. It was theft. It was greed. It was murder. That's where all the wealth how they accumulated all this wealth.
Exactly. That's where the fucking wealth initiated from. That's where that's what initiated it, and now we just reached the precipice to where now the shit is you gain so much inertia, so much so to where the shit the snowball just keeps going down and you ain't got to do shit. You just kick the snowball down the hill and it just gains momentum. It gains inertia and you ain't got to do shit with it. You got to do nothing with it. And your kids, your children's children, your children's children's children, they have so much money to where they don't have anything to fucking do with this shit. And then on top of that, these people will lobby for them not to pay fucking taxes. Change the tax code to where they ain't got to pay taxes. People that never worked a fucking day in their life, that have a net worth of $1 billion, they're okay with paying a lobbyist fucking $10 million so they won't have to pay $100 million in taxes. Like, come on, give me a break.
And then they tell us to do something else. And what I've been learning more and more is that that's been done by design. The argument around Black capitalism has been literally used as a psychological warfare technique to keep Black people away from radically politically organizing through what is our only means of actual power, political organization, and movements. So even to your point, if it's understood backwards, if we encourage more in our community to save and spend more frugally and responsibly, we will end up hurting working people in those parts of the economy where many of our people are, who depend on us going to this or that business or spending in this or that. So that's, by the way, how capitalism in this society works. Is 70% consumer based. If people, as we saw during the pandemic, stop spending, the economy collapses and the rich start to panic. Then they have to do all the things that we saw them do, use public policy to create money out of nowhere and redistribute it to themselves. So what I'm actually advocating is,
and that's facts. And this is exactly what we saw. We saw upwards of $3 or $4 trillion during the pandemic that went from the fucking working class right up to the top 1%. We saw trillions of dollars when nobody wasn't spending. Ask yourself, how the fuck did these people start to make trillions of dollars during the pandemic? The top 1% were making trillions of dollars. One, monopoly. Two, they gave you money to spend. Like, it just trickled right back up to them. The shit didn't trickle down back to us, the poor folk. That shit ain't trickled down to us. They use these systems to make more money. Let me pull that up so I can show y'all, but let me listen.
That instead of telling us, and I'll come back to a moment how the buying power is actual mythology, but my point ultimately is, instead of telling us to business our way to equality, what we should be saying is we should be valued more for our consumption. The consumer, it's the engagement.
What does it mean to value us more for our consumption?
Well, for me, it would be to redistribute the wealth that's created in this world. I mean, we have to remember that, first of all, we were just looking at it. It's somewhere around $150 trillion in private wealth is generated.
Hold on, let me show y'all this real quick. Because motherfuckers think it's a game. They think it's a game. So when we see right here that the 10 richest men double their fortunes in the pandemic, while, hold on, you can't see the rest of this. Hold on, let me bring it down a little bit. Let me bring it down just a little bit. The 10 richest men double their fortunes in the pandemic, while incomes of 99% of humanity fall. New billionaires minted every 26 hours as inequality contributes to the death of one person every 4 seconds. Let me make it a little bigger. The world's 10 richest men more than doubled their fortunes from $700 billion to $1.5 trillion at a rate of $15,000 per second, or $1.3 billion a day. During the first 2 years of the pandemic, that has seen the incomes of 99% of humanity fall and over 160 million more people forced into poverty, if these 10 men were to lose 99.99% of their wealth tomorrow, they would still be richer than 99% of all people on the planet. So what that's saying is you can still tax these people. You can still tax the richest motherfuckers. 99.99%. You can tax them and they're still going to be richer than 99% of people on the fucking planet. On the planet. Said Oxfam International's executive director, Gabriella Boucher. They now have 6 times more wealth than the poorest 3.1 billion people. In a briefing, Inequality Kills, published today ahead of the World Economic Forum's Davos agenda, Oxfam says that inequality is contributing to the death of at least 21,000 people each day. Each day. Or one person every 4 seconds. Due to this inequality that's going on, you have one person dying every 4 seconds. In the time that it just took me to read that, damn near fucking 10 people done fucking died due to fucking inequality. This is a conservative finding. It's a conservative finding. It could be more. Based on deaths globally from lack of access to health care, gender-based violence, hunger, and climate breakdown. And we know it's more because we saw what Elon Musk did with USAID, cut that shit the fuck out. It has never been so important to start righting the violent wrongs of this obscene inequality by clawing back elites' power and extreme wealth, including through taxation. Getting that money back into the real economy and to save lives, she said. Billionaires' wealth has risen more since COVID-19 began than it has in the last 14 years. So these motherfuckers started making exponentially way more money during the fucking pandemic than they was making the past 14 years. During the pandemic, they were making so much fucking money, hand over fist, way more than what they were making during the past 14 years. At $5 trillion, this is the biggest surge in billionaire wealth since records began. A one-off 99% tax on the 10 richest men pandemic windfalls, for example, could pay for to make enough vaccines for the world, to provide universal health care and social protection, fund climate adaptation, and reduce gender-based violence in over 80 countries. All this while still leaving these men $8 billion better off than they were before the pandemic. So if we were to tax these motherfuckers, think about it. If we were to tax the billionaires 99.999%, they still would be making $8 billion fucking dollars. They still would be making $8 billion a year. And that's with us taxing them 99.999%. They still would be making $8 billion. But for them, nah, fuck that. We don't want to part ways. Because at this point, it's a fucking dick measuring contest. Jeff Bezos want more money than fucking Elon. Elon want more money than this one and the next one. That's what it is. Billionaires have had a terrific pandemic. They've had a terrific pandemic. Central banks pump trillions of dollars into financial markets to save the economy. Yet, much of that has ended up lining the fucking pockets of the billionaires, riding a stock market boom. Vaccines were meant to end this pandemic, yet rich governments allowed big pharma, billionaires, and monopolies to cut off the supply to billions of people. This result is that every kind of equality imaginable risks rising. The predictability is sickening. The consequences of it kill, said Boucher. Extreme inequality is a form of economic violence where policies and political decisions that perpetuate the wealth and power of a privileged few result in direct harm to the vast majority of ordinary people across the planet itself. This is what he's talking about. This is what I'm talking about. There's no fucking such thing as black capitalism that's going to save you. Capitalism in and of itself can't fucking save you. Capitalism enriches that top 1 fucking percent. Even when there's a global fucking pandemic. I don't care if you don't give a fuck about the pandemic. If you want to call it the plandemic. If you want to say that you don't like the vaccines. So fucking what? That's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is this event that happened. It moved billions and trillions of dollars to the top 1 fucking percent. And we all should be able to understand that point. It moved trillions of dollars to the top 1%. Well, you had millions of people that were fucking dying left and right every goddamn month. These motherfuckers was making goddamn money. They were making money, bruh. Let's get back to it.
Generated in this country every year. Around $450 trillion in private wealth around the world is generated every year, except only 1% have it. And that wealth is generated through our labor, through our consumption. When we pay bills, when we buy the $10 lattes, when we go to the club, when we buy rims, when we get our hair done, when we buy our clothing, even from our own Black-owned businesses. That is the exchange that creates a profit and creates wealth. The only problem is that is just ever accumulated ever upwards to the point where we have, again, 1/10 of 1% have all the wealth. We have 700, Forbes just reported 737 people in this country are worth $5 trillion plus. That's not because they were good business people and what they were. They
ate the vitamins and said their prayers. That wasn't how they got it.
No, I was just at a conference where an elder brother told us black people are poor because we're not going to church enough. We're not morally fit. And that was so disturbing to me. It's so my point is,
So black people are poor because we ain't going to motherfucking church. Really, nigga? Really? Come on, give me a damn break.
That just took me back to that moment. But that's the problem. So instead of saying don't shop, we should be saying no. You should value me more by redistributing that wealth more. So the wealth again, I tell the story all the time, but I was at a popular sporting goods store around where I live to buy my daughter her soccer gear. And we get to the cashier and the brother says, would you like to, in addition to this, give some extra money to cancer research? And I said, no.
The answer should be fuck no. It shouldn't just be a no. The answer should be a fuck no.
And he and everybody in the line started looking at me crazy. And I was like, yeah, like, you're not going to shame me in front of my child. So I said, look, quick Google, look up the owner of this sporting goods store. He's a multi-billionaire.
You know what? We ain't even got to do that. We don't have to look at the owner of the sporting goods store. We could just look at the healthcare industry and what they profited last year. The U.S. healthcare industry profit pools were projected to reach $603 billion in 2004, driven by growth in pharmaceuticals and IT. So if they made $603 billion fucking dollars in 2024, what the fuck did they make in 2025? Why aren't they putting $100 fucking billion into cancer research and all of that shit? Why are you telling me when I'm going to Dick's to buy a fucking tennis racket or some goddamn tennis shoes or whatever the case, you asking me for money? You asking me for money? But the goddamn CEO of Dick's is making $40 million a fucking year. He can subsidize the whole shit for a year. He can subsidize research for cancer research for a whole year, but won't. But these motherfuckers want to make you feel bad when you get to the damn line and you want to pay for your shit. Oh, you don't care about children. No, nigga, I don't give a fuck. I care as much as you care. The healthcare industry made $603 billion fucking dollars last year. Why isn't the healthcare fucking industry trying to put money into fixing the cancer situation? They don't want to fix the cancer situation. They rather sell you pharmaceuticals and drugs so you can deal with the fucking disdain. They don't want to fix the shit. They make money by you having cancer. This is why they sell you the Roundup and all of this other bullshit. This is why when you go look at the food that you fucking purchase, it has 50 fucking ingredients. And something as simple as some goddamn M&Ms has 50 fucking ingredients. It should be chocolate, cocoa, or and one or two other fucking things. But instead, there's 50 goddamn things and some goddamn M&Ms. Go get you some Starburst. Read the packaging. It's 50 things on there. Red 40, blue yellow, yellow 60. Sound like you fucking Peyton Manning calling a goddamn play. This is the shit that's killing us. I'm not donating shit. And I'm not leaving no motherfucking tip. Fuck you.
This store generates billions of dollars every year because I just spent $80 on a soccer ball and some socks.
Why am I donating in his proxy? He should be donating to cancer and me.
Exactly. And you behind the cashier should be making more and working less. That's what I'm saying. We should all have more because that's, again, not to go too much into that Marxist guy, but the point is, he made the point, capitalism shows the contradiction of capitalism. It shows we can produce everything we need. Everybody can have what they need. It's if we redistribute it. And
everybody can have what they need. Marx figured this shit out 200 fucking years ago. We just don't learn. Marx figured this shit. Karl Marx figured this shit out. Frederick Engels, they figured this shit out 200 years ago. And we're still on this goddamn path to fucking destruction. Still don't get it. You have people trying to figure out what happened to the American dream. Nigga, the American dream was a mirage. You know that shit like when you in the desert and you thirsty as fuck and then you see like a lagoon and you think you finna drink from that shit? No, nigga. The American dream is a mirage. Nobody ever had the fucking American dream. It doesn't exist. Even when you talk about this bullshit American dream shit, the way how people were able to live good was based on the proliferation of harm of black fucking bodies, nigga. Nigga, black people ain't live no fucking American dream. This shit ain't exist for them. It didn't exist for us. So now white people are figuring out that the American dream was a goddamn hoax. It was a mirage, and now they catching flick, and they're like, oh my God, I've been lied to. Yes, you fucking been lied to. So why the fuck you keep voting Democrat? Why the fuck you keep voting Republican? Why is it? Why do you keep voting Democrat? Why do you keep voting Republican? How about we start a third fucking party that don't fuck with none of this shit? That's finna tell these goddamn billionaires to pay like you weigh. Why is that not the case?
So that's really what my point is. So just quickly, because I don't want to lose.
That's actually a good segue. That's actually a good segue right to the last thing I want to talk to you about.
But real quick, I just want to clarify one point that about the mythology of buying power. I just want to clarify that the $1.8 trillion, the myth of buying power, and one of the to me, the greatest value of my work here is that I identify what are now, it originally was really just one, but are now three key sources for that same mythology. And it's born out of marketing and advertising data. It has nothing to do with the actual income and wealth of black people. It is based on what they say in their own reports, the Selig Center, that it is estimates and projections based on survey data of what black people spend as consumers, and it's used to help advertisers and businesses use their ad revenue better to target black communities. Then the problem becomes too many in the Black commercial press who need that ad revenue want to promote that they have a community of an audience that can buy the products that white ad buyers will want to sell. So it becomes this incestuous myth recirculating process.
Nah, not even only incestuous. It becomes an Inception type of deal. It becomes Inception to where we have to buy this shit, and then they send you ads to where they make you want to fill you up with dopamine to where you want to buy this shit. It becomes Inception. I want to buy the shit that I can't have, so I'm gonna save up. It's Inception and incestuous.
Process that leaves often Black consumers of that media completely unaware and confused as to how the economy works. So I just wanted us to get past this mythology before we reach whatever solution we want to reach. And in no way meaning to condemn or blame nationalists or Black business people or even the Black capitalist business class per se, that does often benefit as the isolated one group, to relatively speaking, but is to simply say that we are not poor because we've misspent and are ignorant of our finances. In fact, Black people, by studies, show the most financially literate.
Right, and that's the rub. We're not poor because a nigga want to go and buy a bottle of Hennessy. You're not poor because you want to spend some money and buy some weave and get your fucking hair done. You're not poor because you want to go and buy some fucking Jordans. That's not why you're poor. The greater reason why you're poor is because there is no wealth redistribution. There is no wealth redistribution. That's why you're poor. You have people hoarding resources. You have people literally hoarding resources, and they won't give this shit to you because they lobby to say, hey, I don't want to pay fucking... We see what Donald Trump did. He brought the tax rate down. He brought that shit down to 17%. Only to tell people, hey, you're going to have more money in your pocket. Yeah, you may have a few... You may have... after you file your taxes and everything, you may have like $200 or $300 more fucking dollars. But guess what? Guess who's also paying less fucking money in taxes? It's the fucking businesses. It's the corporations. They're paying less in taxes. So this motherfucker cuts $1 billion in fucking of food stamps and other shit, but he lowers your taxes. And you're like, oh, yippee, good. I get to save and I get to have an extra $200 at the end of the fucking year. But the poor people get shit. And they can't even get food stamps. And you're like, well, fuck them. They need to work harder. Okay, well, what happens to these regular people? What happens to these regular people that are working jobs that they get fired from Amazon and Microsoft and all of these places? What the fuck you think is going to happen to them? They're going to file for food stamps, and who the fuck pays for that shit? The taxpayer. We pay for that shit for these people to have food stamps. We pay for that shit. So instead of making the corporations pay more, what Donald Trump actually did was he forced the middle class and the poor class to actually pay more in taxes. Like, give me a break.
Literate and careful with their money. It's that we're locked in a part of the economy that is meant for pure exploitation. So that's what I wanted us to get past. So
pure exploitation. He's right. Let's get to the next video. Let's check this out. He talks to Dr. Jared Ball is about to get into a conversation with Dr. Wolf, which is you know, one of the people that I look at and really brought me into communism, even though he's a socialist. Very intelligent brother. Let's get into that.
Welcome, friends, to another edition of Economic Update, the weekly program devoted to the economic dimensions of our lives and those of our children. I'm your host, Richard Wolff. I want to remind you that Charlie Fabian is ready and waiting to take whatever suggestions you have regarding future segments of this program. He's a volunteer whose work we appreciate much as we do the flow of information, suggestions, and comments that you've been sending his way. You can reach him via email at charlie.info438@gmail.com. Once again, charlie.info438@gmail.com. In today's program, we're going to be talking about the Baltimore Bridge disaster, about minimum wages in the United States, and about cities able, willing, and now having done successful rent reduction for the people living there, something that concerns Americans struggling with higher rents than we've ever seen in this country before. And in the second half of the program, we'll have an interview with Professor Jared Ball, a professor of communications and Africana studies, who's going to be talking about Black buying power and Black capitalism here in the United States. Okay, let's get into it. I'm sure all of you have seen the problem is our capitalist system, and I can explain it very concretely. In our capitalist system, we arrange that government, and author of The Myth and Propaganda of Black Buying Power. Ball also hosts the podcast I Mix What I Like. He's a co-founder of Black Power Media, which can be found at blackpowermedia.org. And he can be found at I Mix What I Like on most social media. He has done decades of emancipatory journalism, and that too can be found at imixwhatilike.org. So first of all, welcome, Jared. I hope you don't...
Yo, let me just say this, yo. Just to hear Dr. Wolf say, I mix what I like, that's just funny as hell to me. Because I listen to Dr. Wolf all the time, and just for him to say, I mix what I like, that's just funny as hell to me.
Don't mind if I call you Jared so that we can get to the business of talking about what needs some discussion.
No, right on. It's an honor, and I thank you and your staff and your audience for hosting me.
Good. All right, let me start. The phrase Black buying power, and more broadly, the phrase Black capitalism, has been offered as a path to economic and social justice for African Americans. Can you tell us a little bit about these concepts and what you think of them in that context?
Well, the short answer, starting working backwards, is I think they're horrible, and they are concepts that have been imposed by design by the ruling elite to discourage Black populations from radically organizing for political power. So buying power, as I'm sure you and others are aware, has its own history in association with cost of living surveys in an attempt to manage the sort of pressure point at which those who rule could pay their workers without the workers earning enough to not be workers, but earning enough to buy what they are producing, thereby keeping the economy going. And out of that came, again, cost of living surveys, buying power, and
let me just say this, man. Dr. Ball, he was in rare form today, man. He was in rare form in this interview, man. Big shout out to Dr. Ball, man. I'm just such a huge fan. Hopefully, one day I can have a brother on the platform to interview him. Yeah, I'm just a big fan.
Buying power as a subset is a concept. Over time, particularly after the Second World War, and then really again during the Nixon administration as a subset of the Black capitalist ethic and promotional campaign, Black buying power became weaponized and targeted as a concept to Black communities, again, as a subset of the Black capitalist mythology and ethic and propaganda to discourage Black people from being critical of capitalism as an economy and thinking that they can find their salvation in it by just increasing things like, quote unquote, financial literacy, so-called consumption behavior, and so on. But in reality, it was and has been a tactic to get Black people to walk away from critically analyzing the society and radically organizing it out of existence.
You know, it's interesting. It stimulates me right away. I've always admired the way in America, more than in Europe, you could change the identification of people from workers to consumers. You stop calling them workers. It's the same people, but you call them consumer. But of course, that reorients their way of thinking about themselves in a way to discourage transforming the work experience and all that that means. Now it's about, being smart enough to go to the discount house rather than buying it at Sears or something else. Amazing to watch. Okay, let me switch. There's been quite a bit of attention to something developing in Atlanta called Cop City. What is that, and what do you have to say about it?
Well, Cop City, and I would defer to my Black Power Media comrade, Kamal Franklin, and others like Community Movement Builders and others down there doing a lot of the hardcore organizing and struggling on this particular topic. But Cop City is essentially an attempt to develop a training facility to prepare the police to do what Malcolm X has said is their role, to do locally what the military does internationally, and that is to police and suppress threatening organizational efforts among labor, among colonized communities, among Black and Latin and indigenous populations, come up with another excuse to further expand that apparatus and to fund it. So, and by the way, as my other comrade Renee Johnston has been doing a lot of great work on lately, cop cities are emerging all over the country. In almost every state, overwhelmingly, I think 47 at least at this point was what her research is showing, have some version of this cop city. So the one in Atlanta is expected to be somewhere around the cost of $100 million. There's one being planned not far from me in Baltimore that's going to be 3 times that cost, which is again part of it actually reminds me of something that I read in 2018 where the U.S. military was doing war games in advance of what they thought was going to be the coming rise of a Generation Z that was going to realize it wasn't going to get what it was promised. And instead of course, redistributing resources and goods and services, the idea was, well, we'll just prepare militarily for an uprising. Well, this is in effect what I think these cop cities are meant for, that the idea is exploitation and oppression is not going to stop. Movements that are born sort of dialectically as a response to oppression are going to emerge. So why not prepare from the perspective of the ruling elite for the military response to that, as opposed to anything progressive, radical, or dare I say revolutionary that would just simply redistribute the goods and services and the wealth we all help to produce. So by the way, even going back to your previous point about the labeling of consumer, and part of what my work is meant to talk about as it's directed at the Black American population, although the versions of this target all manner of populations, is that there has been an attempt to redefine consumer in the relationship of in the process of consumption as somehow invaluable or immature or somehow inferior into the process, when in reality, especially in a society like this where the economy is at least 70% based on consumption in the consumer should be more valorized and valued and appreciated and encouraged.
But it's not. They don't value you. They look at you as a useless fucking eater. Peter Thiel has said this shit that he doesn't give a fuck about the American people. There's interviews that came out that these motherfuckers are working on behalf of Israel. They said fucking shit, just let Israel just take over every goddamn thing. So yeah, they don't look at us as actual citizens. They actually don't care about you. They look at you as a useless eater.
With the idea being, of course, that the wealth produced from that consumption be better redistributed as opposed to accumulating ever increasingly to a tiny elite. So that ability to as again Malcolm X said, the United States had perfected the science of image making is a big part of the process that allows for this exploitation to continue.
All right, I want to build on these 2 comments that you made, because if you look at the one hand at the attempt to, how shall I put it, ideologically or psychologically demobilizing the African American community, or by extension, the working class, or on the other hand, repressing it with the police and the military. Do you agree with some folks who believe that we are in a different place now than we were as recently as 20 or 30 years ago, in the following sense, that those things are going on that you've just described, but they're now going on not in the ascending phase of the American empire, but on the contrary, in the descending phase?
Yeah, he's 100% right and exact. We are in the same exact phase, except we're in the descending phase, because if you go back 30 years, we're in 2026. You go back to 1996, you had purchasing power parity that was way higher, but throughout these 30 years since 1996, we've seen the devaluation of the dollar. So yes, people during that time in the 90s, even more in the 80s, they were experiencing this great reawakening of American society to where people were making more money. But you have to understand that was that was due through the signing of NAFTA to where people corporations were shipping jobs off to places like China, Mexico, the Philippines, things of that nature. So now the chickens have actually come home to roost, to where there's no more money to be fucking made. There's no more money to be made. So we saw we saw the destruction and the dematerialization of all of these businesses when it comes to manufacturing, to where now, like, even if you take something as simple as like Elon Musk, when he makes his cars, they don't he'll put a stamp on his cars that says made in America, but when you look at the intricate parts that come from Elon Musk's Teslas, the majority of that shit is made in China, but it's assembled in America. So this is why he's able to put the stamp of made in America. So what Donald Trump did, Donald Trump said, okay, well, you know, we're gonna put these tariffs, which we now see are fucking illegal. The Supreme Court has come down to show that these tariffs are illegal. But what these companies have done for so long, for approximately 30 years, they've been able to outsource cheap labor. They've been able to outsource cheap labor because one of the mainstays, especially when you talk about like Ford, is that it was built and produced right here in America. But what happened? They shut down those factories so they can make more money, to where they can get these other parts from other places like China, and then they would assemble these cars here in America. So whereas in America they would make these small little parts, or they would make these widgets and things of that nature, America doesn't make these things anymore. So this is why so many of these places got shut the fuck down, because it's not it's antithetical to what they want to do as a company. They want to make more money, and it's impossible for them to make more money when they're hiring people and paying them $40, $50, $60 an hour. It's impossible to do that. So they said, fuck it. Let's outsource this shit, and let's pay these people $2 and $3 an hour. But in Chinese money, that's fucking $20 or $30 an hour to them. Fuck it, we'll make it. But then they bring these widgets and all this other stuff, and then they assemble it here in America. So, perfect example, the company that I used to work for was a furniture company. It was the company I used to work for was a furniture company. It was cheaper for my company to actually, even under the tariffs, it was still cheaper for my company to have this furniture made in China and ship it to America versus paying American people to actually make and produce the furniture. It was still cheaper. So this is what American companies are doing. For example, you could take a company like Apple. When Donald Trump introduced the tariffs against China, what did Apple do? Apple said, "Hey, if you're gonna do these tariffs on China, and you're gonna cut in to 50% of what we're doing, hey, we're gonna stop making phones in China, and then we're just gonna have the fucking Indians do it in East India, so they can continue to make the money that they were making." So they said, fuck it, we're going to halt everything in China, and then we're going to move our operations over to India. And then boom. Like, this is how capitalism works. Because these motherfuckers, like when Donald Trump is doing these tariffs, Donald Trump is not trying to help you. He's not trying to help me. He's not trying to help the American citizen. He's not trying to do that. What he's trying to do is these are Cold War tactics. So what he initiated when he first came into office last year, he initiated a Cold War with China. So what China said, well, fuck it. So we could take your soybeans, because America had the biggest soybean producing market. China said, fuck it. We're not going to buy none of your soybeans. We'll go get them from somewhere else. And they do get them from somewhere else. And they didn't miss a fucking beat. But who actually struggled because of that? It was American farmers, because now they're producing all of these fucking soybeans with no one to sell them to, because China was the top purchaser of these soybeans. So this is why the the farmers in America said, hey, we need to be bailed out. We need to be bailed out. But at the same time, the majority of these fucking farmers, these fucking cucks and idiots are the motherfuckers that voted for Donald Trump. These same right-wing motherfuckers that are saying, yo, hold on, stop. You're deporting all of our workers. And then on top of that, you're getting into a trade war with China. You just fucked our whole business. So now we need a bailout. And see, this is the thing about American companies that a lot of people don't talk about because a lot of people don't know about it. But MSNBC, Fox News, a lot of these people, they actually do know about this, but they don't talk about it. Because what happens is they'll tell you, oh, we don't like socialism. We don't like socialism. But what the American public does is they'll actually enact socialism for some of these groups of businesses that they want to keep open. Perfect example, if you want to talk about socialism, you could look at Elon Musk's Tesla. Why is it that you have BYD, a Chinese car company, that if they were able to import their cars over here, you would be paying $20,000 for a brand new fucking car. Right now, the average cost of a brand new car, is $50,000. Excuse me. The average cost of a brand new car is $50,000. But if China was able to bring their car company, BYD, you'll be paying $25,000 for a brand new, not only a brand new car, but a brand new EV, electric vehicle. But what happened is, what they did was they put 100% tariffs on them shits. So instead of BYD selling you the fucking car for $20,000, now you have to pay $40,000 for the car because they put 100% tariffs on the shit. So now you as a person, you won't buy the shit. You'll just say, fuck it, I'll just buy some Toyota bullshit, or I'll just buy some Tesla or whatever the fuck, because it's the same price. So this is what they do. They enact socialism when they want to, and this is what the fuck tariffs are really about. And then even more so after that, when you look at it, the judges ruled that, hey, yo, these tariffs are illegal. Now, where the fuck does this money go? This money is gonna go back to the fucking businesses. Now, these businesses, they were paying the tariffs because a tariff is a tax on the business that imports the shit. They paid the tariffs, true indeed. But what they also did was they increased the prices to cover for those tariffs. But who gets the money? Now the businesses get the fucking money and we don't get shit. Even though we as American citizens, we paid more money because they raised their prices, and then now we don't get shit. So it's a dirty game.
But there's now an element of desperation in the way that this is being done, because even though it's not put in these terms, there is a developing sense across the society, a sense of doom and gloom, a sense that somehow the losses in wars like Vietnam or Afghanistan or Iraq or now Ukraine and so on, that these are emblems or signs of a decline that make an already quasi-rebellious African-American community become more scary, because as things unravel, we may expect from them a level of pushback that then begins to unravel the whole system. Is there anything like that going on that strikes you?
Well, yes. So because I watched your show and then followed your work and the work of your colleagues here for a while, I kind of get the picture that there is a concern among the ruling elite of this society that their power is waning in the world. But because my approach, for instance, to my work is largely a combination of Africana and media studies as opposed to economics proper per se, a lot of what I do in my work is to look at the way economic ideas and responses to them are messaged and communicated. And because I've been encouraged, or by design of my profession, studied the history of U.S. mass communication research, what becomes almost immediately clear is that those in power in the society have for the longest time worked ardently to sort of collapse the gap between the need of ultimately a handful of people to exploit and rule so many, in other words, to collapse the numeric inequality that they suffer, the lack of numbers, with the fact that they can exaggerate their influence through messaging and through narrative dominance.
Right, and this messaging and this narrative is so prevalent today because we can look at something as simple as this. So if we were to ask, well, what's the average of U.S. citizens that have retirement savings? We can see here the average American household with retirement assets has roughly 333,000 to 521,000 saved, but the median, the middle value is much lower at around 87,000. But when we look deeper into the numbers, when we look deeper, a significant portion, which is 46% of households, have no retirement savings at all. They have no fucking retirement savings at all. So you have 46% of people in America that have no fucking retirement savings. So this shit right here, this 33,000 to 521, half a million, this is just a fucking pipe dream. This is a pipe dream. Because we have damn near 50% of people that have no fucking retirement. Let me ask you, for the people that are listening, tuning in, how much do you have saved for your retirement? You don't have to put it in there, but I'm asking you this so you can, think to yourself. Almost 50% of people in America have no fucking retirement savings. Why? It's because people are not saving for retirement. And this tracks because 70% of people can't afford a $2,000 emergency. The average person can't even afford a $2,000 emergency, such as if your car gets fucked up or whatever. Can't do that. If you fuck around and lose your job and you need to be able to pay your rent, the average rent is $1,500 to $1,600 for a one bedroom. You can't pay for that. This tracks and it makes sense because the average person can't handle these emergencies. So if the average person, if 70% of people can't even cover a fucking $2,000 emergency, what makes you think that the average person has anything saved in fucking retirement? What makes you think that the average person has anything saved in retirement? Because common sense would then hit you and say, shit, I got 30,000 saved for my retirement. Let me reach into my retirement and help for this $2,000 car payment or issue that I have with my car. But the average person doesn't have that saved. The average person doesn't have this money. That's not well, you need to find a better job. That's not well, you should get better training and get a better job. No. That's a structural issue. That's a structural issue. There's an issue with the structure of America and how this shit is working. It has nothing the fuck to do with if I went to college to get a degree or if I got some kind of fucking tech degree. That has nothing to do with it. This is a structural issue. Whereas we saw that baby boomers have been the richest generation. The baby boomers. These are the motherfuckers that was born right after World War II. These motherfuckers that was born in the fucking 50s and early 60s. These motherfuckers got trillions of fucking dollars. And when they die, this is when we're going to see the biggest transfer of wealth. We're going to see the biggest transfer of wealth. But when it comes to my generation, the fucking millennials, no. We don't have any money. The millennials are the first generation that's going to do worse off than their parents. Because in America, the way how this shit work is that everybody does better than their parents. Everybody makes more money than their parents. Everybody saves more money than their parents. All of this other shit. In America, people my age, from like 35 to 45 or whatever the fuck the millennial shit is, we are the group of people that we're going to do worse than our parents. We're going to do worse. Because in the fucking 80s when I was born, your parents could go to the fucking grocery store and spend $10 and get a bunch of fucking groceries that could last a week. But in our generation, nigga, spending $10, that's finna get you an onion, a bell pepper, and a nigga telling you to get the fuck out of there. You ain't getting shit off of that. What can you spend for $10? What you finna get you some goddamn oodles and noodles that's finna be filled with so much goddamn sodium to where you get high blood pressure? What the fuck can you buy? Nigga, hold on. Let me find this shit real quick. Because this is another thing. The price of fucking cocoa is down 46%. Let me see if I can find this shit. Hold on. Let me see if I can find this shit. The price of cocoa went down 40%, but we don't see any decreases in the fucking price of a Hershey's bar, Crunch bar, whatever the fuck you like. We don't see the price decrease, but the price is down for cocoa 46%, which shows and tells you that prices don't go down. Let me see this shit. Hold on. Let me play this.
Through manipulation of symbols, and even as we were just discussing, definition of terms and identities, etc. So a lot of what I am seeing, and at least interpreting it, is sort of even in connection with the recent pandemic, that as more people started to raise questions around, well, wait a minute, how is society actually working? How does the economy actually work? Who are valued and unvalued in the economy? More propaganda seemed to, I didn't do a proper study per se, but it seemed to be that there was an uptick in the propaganda promoting versions of capitalism, Western-styled imperialist-based democracy, and certainly targeting Black communities, Black capitalist ideas as solutions, and saying, don't raise too many questions about the creation of wealth that's easily redistributed in the moment of crisis. Don't raise questions about the actual standing of the U.S. economy in the world, and don't look at how other countries and other formations in the world are developing as a response to the dollar diplomacy and its impact in the world, so to speak. Just look to as I'm describing, the mythologies of capitalism, Black capitalism, for your solutions. And so I do feel like as this society, as those in power struggle to maintain their power, there is an uptick in the propaganda.
Let me pause this real quick. So we see here, cocoa prices have fallen by over 40% from 2025 record highs, dropping from $12,000 per metric ton to below $8,000 as of early 2026. So explain to me, when you want to go get your Hershey's bar, your Three Musketeers, or whatever the fuck you want to go and buy, explain to me why the price of your Three Musketeers, the price of your Hershey's bar, explain to me why the price of your fucking chocolate didn't go down. Cocoa prices have gone down 40%, but the price of this shit is the same. And see, what they want to lie to us and tell us is, well, see, inflation and this and this and that and all this other bullshit. Nigga, no. The price of the raw materials that it takes for you to make a fucking Hershey bar has gone down 40%. Why am I not paying at least 20% less The price went down 40. I'm asking, why are we not paying at least 20% less for a fucking Hershey's bar? You want to know why? It's because the price doesn't go down. This is the same shit that happened during the pandemic. Prices don't go down. They go up and they stay up. I remember you used to be able to get a goddamn Hershey's bar or Crunch bar or whatever the fuck for $1. Now, if you want to go get a Hershey's bar or whatever the fuck, that shit is, go to the checkout lane. That shit is like $3.25. But the price of the cocoa, the price of the raw materials that it makes, that it takes to make this shit is down 40%. Why are we not paying 40% less? Instead of paying $3 for this shit in the checkout lane, why are we not paying $1.80? Why are we not paying $1.80? That would be 40%. You know why we're not paying $1.80? It's because prices don't come down. We're being fucked. So there is no saving your money and no. It's a myth. You can't save your way out of this shit. There is no saving your way out of this shit. Because there's no one there saying, hey, to the Hershey company, say, hold on. This shit costs damn near 50% less to fucking make. Why is it that you still charging the same price? There's no one there to stop these companies from doing this shit. There's no one there. No one is stopping these companies from doing this shit. They're just going to keep doing it over and over and over again. The price dropped down 40%. It drops down 50%. Who gives a fuck? We're going to keep charging these niggas for this goddamn Hershey bar. And they don't only do it with the Hershey bar. They do it with everything. You're used to paying this price, so we're going to make you continue to pay this price. This is capitalism. This is how the fuck this shit works. Why? It's because Hershey, they've cornered the fucking market on this shit. They've cornered the market. So there is nowhere else that you can go buy your fucking chocolate from. There is nowhere else. So either you're going to pay their price or you just won't get the fucking chocolate. Simple as that. You just won't get it. This is how it works. And this is what I'm trying to explain to you guys watching this shit. This is how it works. So it doesn't fucking matter if things go down in price. If the raw materials go down in price 40, 50, 60%, they're not going to charge you anything less. They look at you as stupid. And this is what Dr. Ball is saying when he said, yo, we should be valued. We should be valued as the people that are purchasing these things for you. But they don't value you. They don't value you. They look at you as a fucking useless eater, a stupid consumer. Because most of us are. And this is how they treat everybody. You mean to tell me if the raw materials, okay, let's say the raw materials go down 40%. Are they using that extra money, this extra 40% of money that they're getting? Are they using that to pay their workers 40% more? No, the fuck they're not. They're not paying their workers 40% more. They're not giving you that 40% discount. So where the fuck is that 40% going? So if they're making, let's just say $1 billion a year, and then shit becomes 40% cheaper, they just made an extra $400 million fucking dollars off of not doing anything. Please tell me, how the fuck do billionaires work harder than anybody else? Please explain this shit to me. Billionaires work harder than anybody else, but the raw materials of the shit that they have goes down 40%, and then they make upwards of $40 million fucking dollars. And that's only if they was only making $1 billion. These motherfuckers are making trillions of fucking dollars off of this shit. Are you kidding me? Oh, you know what? Let me guess. Maybe the niggas in Africa that are producing this fucking cocoa, maybe they're giving them that extra 40% and paying them more. No, the fuck they're not. They're not giving the people in Africa that produce the cocoa that 40%. They're not giving it to the fucking workers here in America in the manufacturing plants. They're not giving it to the fucking drivers. Nobody gets this shit except for the corporation. Nobody's getting this money. So explain the fuck to me why these people can't be fucking taxed 99.999%. Explain that shit to me. Why can't they be fucking taxed? Because even when the raw materials drop 40%, they still make money off of your ass. But you would still have dick suckers that'd be like, oh man, these motherfuckers work hard for their money. No, the fuck they didn't work hard for their money. If the price of fucking stainless steel went down 40, 50 fucking percent, Elon Musk is still gonna sell his cars for the same amount. He's not gonna give that discount to you that he's getting a discount on his shit. He's not gonna give that discount to you. He's not gonna give the discount to you. Stop fucking defending these people. They're not gonna let you fuck. The hell is wrong with y'all? Let's continue.
Than really the psychological warfare that they're waging against the rest of us in a variety of ways.
You know, again, very stimulating what you're saying. It reminds me of a trip I took to Europe 3 years ago, and the jealousy, I use that word advisedly, the jealousy of capitalists in Europe who feel that the Americans, whom they look down on in lots of ways, were geniuses compared to them in what they call the molding of public opinion. For them, that's half the explanation for the superiority of American over European capitalism. You, the American, looking at me, you were able to do that in your country. We can't do that here. We have too much opposition. It's too deeply rooted. We can't get it. We can't. Every time we do something, the socialist or the communist or somebody is undoing it in the newspaper.
And the reason and the way how they undo it is because we don't have an opposition party. We have we have the Republicans, which are a right-wing party, and we have the Democrats, which are also a fucking right-wing party. They're a centrist, right-leaning party. We don't have an opposition party to the fucking Republicans. This is why people call the Republicans and they talk about the fucking ratchet effect. This is why the ratchet effect exists. It's because of the Democratic Party. Because you have the right wing that they'll put forth policies. Think about this. Just think for a second. Not for me, but for yourself. The right wing would push forth policies. And the Democrats get in office and they don't reverse those policies that the fucking right wing have put. Donald Trump has been running around putting his fucking name and face on every fucking thing. When the Democrats will win. The Democrats will be in office after Trump's secession. They will be in office. This is a promise. This is how it works. But ask yourself, are they going to repeal this shit? The answer is no. They won't repeal this shit. They're going to keep those policies. And then what happens after that? You're going to get a Republican to get in office right after the Democrats. And they're going to push shit further to the fucking right. This is how it operates.
For every day. And you don't have that. And that's your genius. Well, we're running out of time. So let me end with what you just said. You've been a journalist in the broadest sense of the word, a thinker, an expositor. How do you look at America today, the phenomena of this rerun of Biden versus Trump and the whole effort of this country to survive a declining global position? What's your sense of it?
Well, similar to what has been said or alluded to, that the ruling elite are struggling. So really the way I'm looking at it is that the return to Biden versus Trump Trump is speaks both to the decline of that this country is struggling to resist, but also, unfortunately, the insufficient levels of organization among those of us on the left to take advantage of this appropriately and to intervene more effectively in taking advantage of this struggle that the ruling elite are having. And again, I see this as largely the result of a media environment that has been designed and developed with levels of meticulousness that I don't think many of us are encouraged to appreciate. And certainly I would have appreciated had it not become sort of a core focus of my professional life over the last 20 years. That so much of what we are encouraged to believe as news, or in particular entertainment, is really a counterinsurgency psychological warfare effort designed, again, in literally, as Yasha Levine, whose work I'm using in one of my classes this semester, has demonstrated, was literally developed in the war zones of Korea and Vietnam and brought home here to the United States with a specific idea of targeting Black Americans who have always been seen with, obviously, as a potential threat to those in power. And I do think it's interesting to note that if you go back and look at the newspapers of the day, they refer to Nat Turner and his crew as insurgents in the same way they refer to people fighting for their own land in Iraq or Palestine, which I think is fascinating. And it's on that basis that I think that they've continued to work to suppress efforts in those spaces and here in the United States to develop a radical and critical consciousness that unites with other people in struggle and becomes an organized threat to power here. But so that's what I think is going on a little bit, and what I think we need to work harder to struggle against. That is the counterinsurgency psychological warfare that's targeting us and making it so much more difficult here for us to build around the analysis that you and your comrades do, and that others of us in other formations are trying to work with as well.
Yeah, shout out to Dr. Ball. Definitely shout out to Dr. Ball. I want to get into, I want to kind of turn a little bit because he made some commentary on there's like this show or whatever about this relationship between blacks and Jews. He did a commentary on that, and I wanted to discuss that a little bit. I wanted to discuss that a little bit because I think that him as an atheist, and I don't know if he's a Marxist-Leninist, but he's most certainly a socialist. But I thought he gave some great insight on this, so I wanted to kind of just touch on this, and let's just look at this briefly.
All right, everybody, let's keep it.
So this is actually like, he did a whole series about this. I want to say this is probably like the third video he did, but let's check it out.
Moving, episode 4.
Oh, this is episode 4. My bad, episode 4.
Black and Jewish America: The Interwoven History, episode 4, Crossroads. Let's check it out. Please like, share, subscribe, support the Patreon, all of those things.
By the end of the 20th century, relations between...
Hold on, really quick. If you guys want to check it out, you can go here. I Mix What I Like. Mythological relations at the fictional crossroads. The relationship between Jews and black people. I think he did a masterful job breaking this down. Let's talk about it.
Black and Jewish Americans had grown deeply complicated.
Nothing has separated the Jewish and the black community more than affirmative action.
Andrew Young secretly has a meeting with members of the PLO.
The issue right now is not Jews and blacks. The issue really is the Middle East.
Black men stormed through the street
to kill an innocent young man.
The alliance that once sprang from shared oppression had been tested by politics, by foreign conflicts, and by the past.
And let me just say this real quick, and I have to say it. Dr. Henry Louis Gates, he's a clown for this. He's an absolute fucking clown for this shit. There is no relationship between blacks and Jews. Like it's just not, bro. Like, it's all made up, and not only is it made up, it's one way. And which the brother Dr. Jared Ball is gonna suss this out and explain this to you. But let's go.
Passage of time
tensions began simmering last night.
If you want any more evidence that racism and anti-Semitism are linked, think about Charlottesville.
You will not replace us!
We must not.
No, racism and anti-Semitism is not fucking linked whatsoever, because a fucking Jew can live their life as a white person all day, every day, just like a fucking gay person or a homosexual. They could live their life all day, every day, and you would never know that this person is gay. You would never know that this person is a homosexual. But when I step into a building, you know the fuck that I'm black. When I step into a job interview, you know that I'm fucking black. So none of these things are actually on the same fucking wavelength. These are just lies to try to push more fucking neo-Zionism garbage, and I don't buy that shit. Even me, myself, as a leftist, I call myself an ultra-leftist because I do stand up for homosexuals and people of that nature, but fuck no. The homosexuals, you're never going to be able to compare your struggle to black people, because you don't have to be, you don't have to fucking present your stance when you walk into a fucking room. But as a black person, my skin color precedes me. It precedes me.
Not allow the relationship between Jews and African Americans to suffer.
During this
there at
time,
AIPAC.
blacks and Jews have been pulled together and pushed apart.
The alleged gunman's social media filled with hate against Jews, immigrants.
We're at a moment where all sorts of malevolent forces are at work.
Still, I think the story of that relationship has something to teach us about difference, about division.
No, that shit ain't got nothing to fuck to teach me, because Jews have nothing to fuck to do with our struggle. This made up shit about these niggas was in fucking Africa and Egypt. That whole slavery shit, that shit is fake and false. Never fucking existed. We know that didn't fucking happen, so stop it. No.
And about the hard work of coalition building.
The hard work of limiting coalition building to the most liberal and conservative versions.
When Dr. King referred to himself as a drum major. With his death, the drums are louder still. We do not yet know whether they are summons to battle or to the meeting of reconciliation and peace. That choice, it seems to me, is largely up to us.
Man, come back and get your son, bro.
1968 would see widespread student protests and massive social upheaval. Both Martin Luther King Jr. and Robert Kennedy would be assassinated within a few short months of each other. That was also the year
Yeah, see, and this is like, it spells out the ridiculousness of it, because he says King and Kennedy were assassinated, but King was assassinated because of the color of his fucking skin. Like, already right there, we're seeing like the difference between the two. So it ain't no fucking Jew that has anything to fuck to do with black people in our struggle. Like, none of that has anything to do with each other. And I'm not saying this because I have a problem with Jews, because as I say, I'm a leftist, so I fuck with all marginalized people. But like, give me a fucking break. Let's be honest for a moment.
I graduated from high school in Piedmont, West Virginia. And after a year at the local junior college, in the fall of 1969, I would transfer into the sophomore class at Yale.
Of course. And as I said in the last one, this is where he would become, as he would describe it in his own words, bullied by the radical black movement and the left that he has been working and struggling against ever since. So just that is important.
Right. And Dr. Gates is one of these people, one of these particular types of people that wants to be seen as they're actually a leftist, but Dr. Gates is not a leftist, which, like I say, the brother Dr. Jared Ball is gonna suss that out and kind of fix that shit. These motherfuckers are not leftists, bro, at all. Because when you don't have a respect for the black radical tradition, how the fuck can you be a leftist? Like, it's totally impossible.
That yes, he went to the sophomore class at Yale and fully adopted the worldview of that institution and its stance against radical politics.
As one among the largest number of black students ever to matriculate at the university. reflecting Yale's effort to diversify its student body.
Wow.
Right. So we already see he's, bigging up himself and his particular matriculation through this fucking white school. So what, nigga? We don't give a fuck.
Kennedy, and especially the Johnson administrations, there was a heady rush of legislation to expiate for 300 years of what came to be known as racism and sexism.
Affirmative action dismantled a racist quota. There always was a specified number of black people, and so affirmative action blew that up. The class of 66 at Yale had 6 black guys to graduate. The class that hit campus in September of 69, 3 years later, had 96 black kids. The largest presence of black people in the history of Yale. I was one of them.
The university says it will have a new program to guarantee minority admissions.
Affirmative action, designed to benefit women as well as people of color, would come to be a defining issue of my generation. Some institutions initially sought to increase.
How the fuck is this shit defining of your generation when you lead off to say that this shit was to benefit fucking women? The shit wasn't even there, it was supposed to benefit marginalized people, but women, white women, were the ones who actually gained access. Like what are you talking about? It makes no sense.
Increase racial diversity through quotas, a policy that became a bone of contention between blacks and Jews. Jewish organizations long committed to the civil rights struggle found themselves aligned with conservatives in opposition to racial quotas in college admissions.
Whether you discriminate in favor of somebody or against somebody, it eventually means the same thing. You're working against that concept of a society of equals, all being treated equally.
Just a generation earlier, quotas had been used to cap the number of Jewish students on campus. And in the eyes of many Jews, any quota system threatened to erase their hard-won gains.
Well, see, this is also problematic because what about the capping of the amount of Chinese students or Japanese students? This also happened to them. It's weird that he doesn't mention this thing because what he's trying to do is he's trying to tie in black people and Jews. Like it's kind of ridiculous on its face because he's not being forthcoming and honest with what was actually taking place during this time, which I think is really terrible as a so-called historian.
Some people call affirmative action, others call reverse discrimination.
Increasing the number of black students through quotas would, by definition, reduce the number of white students, including Jews.
Nothing has separated the Jewish and the black.
So again, he clearly says, well, diminishing the number, but by increasing the number of black people, it decreases the number of white students, including Jews. So Jews are fucking white people. Like, Jews are white people, but he's hesitant to say that Jews are white people in any other place. But in this particular point, he's saying, well, it inhibits fucking white people, which includes Jews. Duh, because Jews are fucking white people.
Community more in the last generation than this issue of affirmative action.
For much of the 20th century, black and Jewish Americans had stood shoulder to shoulder on many social and political issues.
No, the fuck we didn't. We did not stand shoulder to shoulder with fucking Jews. You had a few millionaire Jews that put some money into the coffers of King, but none of them ever put any money into the coffers of X, like for what he was doing. So this is mostly a lie, but let's go.
Issues. That seemed to be changing as the fight over racial quotas escalated. But when affirmative action shifted from strict quotas to diversity goals, Jewish opinion also changed. With quotas off the table, many Jewish organizations aligned with defenders of affirmative action in cases before the Supreme Court.
Yeah, the reason why they aligned themselves with that is because they wanted to be looked at as a minority, but they also wanted they wanted to be looked at as a minority, but they also wanted the benefits of being white. So when these Jewish organizations were doing this, these Jewish organizations were actually trying to double dip. They were trying to double dip for their children, because they understood that if they go into a business, that they could be looked at as white. But when it was time for them to go to college, they want to be looked at as Jewish, so they can tap into this, oh, I'm a minority bullshit. This is what they were doing. So they was trying to double dip. So they wanted to be Jewish when it came to them getting into college, but when it came to them going to a business to get a job, they were just white. They would never mention their Jewishness or nothing like this. So this is why they were delving into that. And like, I don't know, bro. Like, it's just so fucking. It's just sad, like, how he just does this.
Differences between the two groups on issues like racial quotas would soon move beyond college campuses into politics more broadly, and ultimately onto the world stage. Traditionally, Israel was seen by Jewish people as a safe haven from persecution and a core part of their identity. But to some black activists, Israel increasingly was viewed as a colonial power.
No, it wasn't viewed that way. That's what the fuck it is. Israel is a colonial power, because we can go all the way back to the fucking 30s when the Jews first came there after, excuse me, not the 30s, but the 50s when they first came there. It was a colonial power, and they were backed by initially the UK, Britain, and then after that they were backed by the United States. So yes, it is a fucking it was a colonial power, and it is a goddamn colonial power. There's nothing to even talk about. Like, it is a colonial power. So even when you go back to people like Fred Hampton and people like that from the Black Power community, the Black Panthers, they weren't standing with the fucking Jews. Ask yourself, why wasn't Fred Hampton and all of these guys not standing with the Jews, and they were actually standing with the fucking Palestinians? Because these motherfuckers during this time in the 60s, these motherfuckers had already been taking a shit on the Palestinians. It's just that today, everything is live streamed, and we see the shit today, and we're like, oh, hell no. How the fuck why would we ever want to fuck with the Jews, and we see what they're doing to the Palestinians? No different than America, excuse me, America was doing what they were doing to black people. This is why you saw China say, well, how the fuck can America tell us about what we should be doing, and they still don't allow black people to drink in the same water fountain as white people? How the fuck can America tell us, China, we're a Marxist socialist society, but we don't do that to people when they come over here? But over there in America, y'all don't even allow the people that are citizens of your fucking country to even sleep in the same fucking beds as goddamn white people. This is what China was saying in the 40s and 50s. Like, who the fuck are you? How are you more moral than anybody else? This is what they were saying. But you want to attack us because we're a socialist country. How the fuck?
Because it is.
The normative practice among American Jews from the 1960s on became one of very deep connection with the state of Israel. Precisely when Israel became more and more criticized by many people within the American black community.
We are moral messengers, and we
criticized a very deep connection with the state of Israel. Among American Jews from the 1960s on became one of very deep connection with the state of Israel.
You see that sign right there? You see that sign? That says Palestine. That says Palestine. The Black Panthers was fucking with the Palestinians, bro. While they were reading that fucking Mao's Little Red Book, they was fucking with the Palestinians, bro. They was fucking with the Palestinians because everybody at that time understood that the fucking Jews were taking over these people's fucking land with the help of America, and they're still, well, I ain't gonna say they're still doing it. They pretty much done it already.
Precisely when Israel became more and more criticized by many people within the American black community.
You see that sign? It says Black Students Alliance support the Palestinian cause. Stop the American support for Israeli expansion. The same shit that leftists are saying today, they were saying this shit in the fucking 60s. During the same goddamn time when black people couldn't even drink out of fucking water fountains with white people. Couldn't go to fucking white establishments through the front door, had to go through the back door. Black people were still standing in fucking solidarity with fucking Palestinians. And we still stand with them today. I don't give a fuck if you Jewish. What you need to be is Jewish and stand on the right side of motherfucking history. Because if there was a black nation that was fucking over another black nation or whatever the fuck they was doing, no, we're gonna be against that all day, every day. We're gonna be against that. And this is what the brothers and sisters stood up for.
We are moral messengers, and we believe and support the human rights of all Palestinians, including the right to be self-determinant.
As the 70s progressed, the Palestinian cause began to gain traction globally. In 1975, the United Nations, over the objections of many Western countries, including the United States, passed a resolution declaring Zionism to be a form of racism.
Yes, United Republic of Tanzania. Yes, United States. No. Le projet de résolution est adopté.
The 1975 resolution had widespread support, and it really shocked the Jewish world.
This resolution, based on hatred, falsehood, and arrogance, is devoid of any moral or legal value.
The Zionism as Racism resolution led to the consolidation of a new coalition of non-Western actors arrayed against Western powers who considered Israel to be part of the Western camp. That coalition sought to bring an end to all remaining forms of colonialism in the world. They saw Zionism as a particularly live form of colonialism. At the same time, Jews, especially in the United States, came to regard that equation of Zionism and racism, or Zionism as colonialism, as the new anti-Semitism.
Again, explaining why the previous claims to some sort of allegiance and solidarity was at minimum overly stated. And because of that initial foundation based on religious mythology, a lack of historical knowledge and awareness, liberal centrist politics, all of that established as the foundation of this claimed unity creates what is predictable, the logical conclusion of these kinds of disagreements and hostilities, because of the lack of clarity around what is the political project being unified around which these two communities are said to be unifying, and what are their political goals, what are their aspirations. All of that never is clearly seems.
The thing is, we know their fucking political goals. We know exactly what they want. Because we could take a look here. What are the only two countries that consistently vote for the embargo on Cuba to stay? Historically, the only two countries that consistently vote against the UN General Assembly resolution calling for an end to the U.S. embargo on Cuba are the United States and Israel. In 2024, 187 nations voted to end the blockade. Only U.S. and Israel voted against it. In 2023, 185 countries voted to end the blockade. Only the U.S. and Israel voted against it. We could go back to 2022, 2021, 2020. It's the same shit. It's the same shit over and over and over and over again. This is how the fuck this shit works. So just to buttress his point, this is what the fuck he's talking about.
at least never to be clearly and honestly put on the table for discussion. And then all of the radicals are always pushed out of the room from both communities before the discussion starts. So whatever we end up assessing and being encouraged to assess as the basis or the so-called reality of this unity is itself, again, built on a flawed foundation, an unreal foundation.
As the opponents dug in, many veterans of the civil rights struggle, well aware of the critical role the Black-Jewish Alliance had played in its success, refused to abandon their Jewish allies.
Watch them distort King.
How the fuck were these Jewish people our fucking allies? Like how? You notice he just says it willy-nilly, like, oh yeah, they were our... What did they do to become our allies? What the fuck did they do to become our allies? Like, this shit is all fake and manufactured. Like, Jewish people were never fucking black people's allies.
November 1975, they took out a full-page ad in the New York Times to
Okay, so this is important. They skipped over. So they've skipped to 1975 so that we get the people speaking on behalf of the black community being led by Bayard Rustin. So they ignored what all of the radicals were saying, including Kwame Ture at the time, at least so far. So they skipped over what King said, including, please check the video we did on that. There's several videos we've done on that about King and what he said about Israel and Palestine, saying Israel would have to give up the land if this was ever to be settled. That it would.
See, that's another thing that they never talk about, because Dr. King stood in solidarity with the Palestinians. Dr. King stood so much in solidarity with the Palestinians that he told the fucking Jews, hey, y'all got to give up that motherfucking land and go the fuck back where y'all came from, because y'all just got there. Y'all just got there, and y'all doing this shit to these people. Dr. King wasn't fucking with them like that. But let this nigga tell it. He's like, oh, man. No, man. Dr. King wasn't fucking with this shit that they was doing over there. Because Dr. King saw an oppressed people. And what's the famous line from Dr. King? Oppressed people anywhere is a fucking tragedy to anybody everywhere. You can't have oppressed people in fucking Palestine and then we just supposed to be sitting and just chilling and living high off the hog. No, he wasn't fucking with that. He wasn't fucking with the Israelis. Because he said, no, you niggas got to give up that motherfucking land. You niggas wasn't there. You niggas wasn't there. The Palestinians been here all this fucking time, and now you finna come and take their fucking land and take their homes and houses. Now the situation that we see now in 2025 and 2026, the situation that's been exacerbated to where now is so much worse. No, Dr. King wasn't fucking with that. He said, no, you got to give up that land. They didn't want to give up that land.
We'd have to start with that. But they skipped over all of that to get to 1975 and this sort of post-assassination, post-Black Power era, ignoble appointed leadership, which would form the foundation and the basis of Henry Louis Gates' ascendancy 20 years later.
Their commitment to Israel.
BASIC, the Black Americans in Support of Israel Committee, was formed by a bunch of the old guard civil rights leaders as
the old.
Yo, you see how they look at it? Was the old guard. It was the old guard. It was the old guard from the Black Power movement. The old guard? No, that's what the black bro. The radical tradition has always been this fucking way. It wasn't no old guard, no new guard shit. The radical tradition has always been the same shit. We don't fuck with and allow colonizers to come and fuck with people that are being oppressed. We don't fuck with that shit, especially as black people here in America. We don't fuck with that shit. And don't label us as the old guard. No, fuck that. There was no old guard. Everybody was against it. Just because King got his fucking face blew off doesn't mean that niggas just some new guard was just like on this shit to where, oh yeah, let's just let the Jews take over the Palestinian land. No, that's not how the fuck it happened. There was no such thing as a fucking old guard. It didn't happen that way. They're lying.
Liberal survivors.
Black Americans,
which would form the foundation and the basis of Henry Louis Gates' ascendancy 20 years later.
Their commitment to Israel.
BASIC, the Black Americans in Support of Israel Committee, was formed by a bunch of the old guard civil rights leaders as
the old liberal survivors who had walked away from the radical wing of those struggles, including Andy Young there and walking away and others walking away from the radicalism of Dr. King. So it's not just that this was the old guard it's that the radicals had been assassinated and were being imprisoned and chased. The Black Liberation Army is in full effect at this point. The Panthers are being,
right at this point you have niggas getting assassinated left and right. Motherfucker Huey getting thrown in prison, all of this. You got all of this shit's happening, and they talk about, well, the old guard. No, fuck out of here, nigga. We always stood for oppressed people. Well, the old guard, like this is like a hit piece on black people. They're talking about, oh, well, the relationship between Jews and blacks, but this is like a hit piece on us. This is a hit piece on us.
All forms of radicalism are being harassed. The never mentioned Robert Williams is run out, is forced out. Kwame Ture is forced out of the country. Asada.
Yeah, they're never gonna talk about Kwame. Like they're never gonna talk about these things because they look at them as the old guard. They look at them as the old guard. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? They're the old guard. Those were the dinosaurs that couldn't change with the fucking times. Nah. No. They stood up for black people. They wanted fucking black power. And these motherfuckers from back in the day, they didn't just stand and lay down. Like niggas think that when King got his fucking face blew off, that everybody just sat back and didn't do a fucking thing. This is the history that they want you to believe, but it didn't work that fucking way. Kwame Ture was still fucking out there. Was still pushing the shit. Was still a fucking Marxist-Leninist. Was still pushing the shit. Saying, fuck these motherfuckers. Don't let them take you. And if they take me, they don't take your spirit. He was still out there pushing this shit. Don't let these, man.
Escapes and flees. Like, we're not going to get any of that part of these histories and what their arguments were. And having already skipped over Malcolm, they make it seem like all of the old guard were on the same conservative page. And that's all incorrect. They only mentioned Ella Baker in the previous episodes around the Bronx slave market issue, but they don't mention what her arguments were in pushing forward a younger, more youthful civil rights leadership in SNCC, producing room for Dr. King to emerge, et cetera, and so forth, and making room for radicalism. They don't mention any of that. So
no, they won't mention that because they don't give a fuck about the black radical tradition, bruh. They don't give a fuck about our heroes because what they're trying to do is they're trying to marry this fictional story about how the Jews and black people, we were just so together and there was no fucking emancipation that took fucking place. And we were just so together and it was the black people that emancipated themselves and didn't want to fuck with Jews anymore. No, that's not what the fuck it was. Black people saw exactly what the fuck was taking place with the goddamn Palestinians, and we put that fucking blame exactly the same way we do real leftists today. We see the fucking Jews and what they got them doing. I don't give a fuck. Don't tell me, oh, well, it's not the Jews. It's actually the Israelis. Fuck that. It's the Jews, nigga. I'm never gonna be mad if a motherfucker tell me, man, it's you goddamn Americans. I'm not gonna fix his statement and be like, well, it's actually the Republicans that voted in Trump. No, it's the fucking Americans, nigga. It's the Americans that want to come and take over your shit. It's the fucking Americans that are doing all of this. It's the Americans that want to come and take over Greenland. Fuck out of here. Why would I sit here and play and tickle your fucking fancy and be like, no, well, it's actually not the Americans. It's actually the Republican Party. Fuck that. It's the Americans that want to do this shit. I can't go to fucking Greenland and lie to these people and be like, well, you know what? It's not the fucking Americans. It's actually... Fuck that, nigga. It's the Jews, nigga. It's the fucking Jews. I don't give a fuck about no bullshit. Well, you know, it's actually not the Jews. It's actually this right-wing party of the Israelis. Fuck that. Nigga, I got 70, maybe 80 years to live on this motherfucking planet. I ain't got no fucking time to pick and choose who the fuck is doing shit. How about if y'all stop doing shit? I won't fucking be able to attribute this shit to you. How about if you just stop doing shit? Well, actually, it's not the Jews. Fuck that. It's you niggas. It's you motherfucking Jews doing this shit. It's you fucking Jews that are killing these motherfucking Palestinians. Do we have to look at the Palestinians and say, well, it's really not the Palestinians. It's fuck that. Stop fucking trying to play on my intelligence. It's the fucking Jews, bruh. The same way, nigga, they don't give me no fucking brevity. They don't say, well, it's some of the blacks. No, they say black people commit 40% of the fucking crimes and they're only 13% of the population. They don't give me no fucking brevity. They give me no fucking brevity. I'm a part of that fucking group that commits 40% of the fucking crimes. So why the fuck would I ever try to give you some fucking brevity? It's the Jews, nigga. Stop fucking playing with me. It's the Jews, and we gonna say it until we can't fucking say it anymore. Stop playing with me.
All we're left with is this what is called the old guard, because that's the old preferred guard.
SNCC and these other groups become more and more anti-Israel, questioning whether Israel should exist at all.
Correct.
They would make the two people who were Jewish, who helped found the...
And excuse me for cutting off Bayard again, but he does need to be interrupted as often as possible at this point. And the question shouldn't be stopped at Israel, by the way, because the same imperial logic that produced Israel produced all of the countries of the world. So all of those nationalisms and nation states ideally would be revisited in terms of their foundations and purpose in dividing up the world for easier rule extraction, et cetera, and so forth. And we would revisit, again, Huey Newton was around at this time talking about intercommunalism. Now, I know he's diminished and dismissed, et cetera, and so forth. But the point is that wing and some of those arguments were still in existence and still around. And to the extent that Huey was caught up in whatever else, that doesn't deny or diminish the quality of that analysis, of that argument around intercommunalism. And the point being, there are no nations to which there are no pre forms of nationalism to which we can decolonize. All of these nations and nationalisms are born on and based on and in response to European colonization. So we would need to think about a whole new way of organizing the world if we want to really overcome all of that.
Yeah, you would have to literally reorganize the fucking world just to say, well, no, no. So let's separate all of the fucking Jews into 50 fucking different compartments. Nigga, no, we ain't doing that. It's the fucking Jews doing this shit. And if you don't like it, how about you get in contact with your fellow Jew motherfuckers and tell them to stop fucking dropping bombs on hospitals, churches, and fucking schools. How about you do that? Don't try to taper my fucking language. Fuck out of here. It's the Jews, nigga. Oh, well, that sounds anti-Semitic. It should sound anti-Semitic. You killing, the fucking Jews are killing other fucking so-called Semites. Motherfuckers that's been on this goddamn land for fucking 400 motherfucking years. They don't have a problem with killing them. Don't have a problem with killing them at all. Killing them wholesale. Well, that sounds anti-Semitic. So fucking what? Stop dropping bombs on fucking schools. Stop dropping fucking bombs on hospitals. How about that? Well, see, you have no idea because how about we look at our October 7th? October 7th, bitch, October 7th, 2,000 Jews died. You motherfuckers have committed 50 fucking October 7th. Don't you think it's time to stop killing these fucking people? Is it now that, how long do you want to kill these people? Over fucking 200,000 of these motherfuckers have died. Is it time to stop? Even as Americans, after the fucking September 11th shit, bro, we did not want to be in fucking Afghanistan. We did not want to be in Iraq. Bro, after 20 years, after 5 years, bro, when Obama came into office, we was like, yo, we need to get the fuck out of there, bro. And Obama never took us out. So for another 8 years, we was up in that bitch. So for the 8 years of Bush, the 8 years of Obama, that's 16 years we was up in that bitch. For the 4 years of fucking Trump, we was up in that bitch. Niggas is like, yo, like, come on, like, get niggas the fuck out of there. Please, get niggas out of there. We spent $8 trillion on that fucking war. $8 trillion. Do you know what the fuck we could have done with that $1 trillion for our fucking country? What we could have done with that? Bro, we could have spent, we could have spent like maybe $100 billion. Bomb the motherfuckers to smithereens like we did, shock and awe, and just came the fuck back home. But no, we didn't want to do that. We wanted to fucking pulverize. We wanted to pulverize everything they fucking stood for. And this is what Israel is doing. They want to pulverize that shit. These motherfuckers are dropping fucking 100-ton bombs on this shit, on these motherfuckers. They tell these motherfuckers, hey, go to the South because we're about to drop bombs. They tell them to go to the South, and then when these people are making their way to the South, they drop bombs on these motherfuckers and kill innocent people. The fuck are you talking about? No. Fuck Israel. All day, every day. Fuck out of here.
Let's just not leave it at the focus of Israel, which of course should be challenged in its origins and rightfulness and et cetera and so forth. But that criticism should be expanded and extended to everybody.
ACP, racist. They would make thousands of Jews who gave Martin Luther King over $2 million racist. Shame upon them.
And if that's absurd. By the way, if giving $2 million to the civil rights struggle means you then get to go and be Zionists and colonizers, then no. Then the money doesn't absolve you.
Then I don't want it. If it means that you can give to the black struggle $2 million and you could just go around the fucking earth bombing, displacing people, committing a fucking genocide, I don't want your money. I don't want your money. You mean to tell me all you got to do is give $2 million fucking dollars and now you can just go and displace people, commit a fucking genocide? I don't want your fucking money. That's bloodstained money.
View of that and shouldn't.
Leaders say, no, that's not how we feel about Israel. The black community is with you. We stand for Israel. Stay with us.
These leaders were determined to emphasize the importance of keeping the alliance intact. And while support for Israel in the black community remains strong, the efforts of some black leaders to engage in the politics of the Middle East would strain that alliance.
No, there was no fucking alliance. This is what Henry Louis Gates is doing. He's manufacturing a fucking alliance. There was no alliance between blacks and Jews. There was no alliance. It's fake.
As violent acts of terrorism, carried out in the name of the Palestinian cause, began to reshape the political climate.
The Israeli sportsmen were taken hostage in their living quarters in the Olympic Village of Munich. Some were murdered on the spot.
Palestinian guerrillas who have seized an Italian cruise ship are now demanding that Egypt give them time on radio.
So we're going back to Munich. Are they going to cover any of the violence of Israel and Mossad or
No, they're not going to cover that, because if you cover that, you're going to put Israel in a bad light. You're going to put the Jews in a bad light. So they're not going to cover that shit. What they're going to talk about is how when the Palestinians attack them, but they're not going to talk about when they actually attacked the Palestinians, when these people were on this fucking land for over 300 fucking years. And these Jews that came from Latvia and all of this other fucking shit, and these motherfuckers just randomly popped the fuck out that, oh, now they deserve the land. This shit was promised to me. This land was promised to me from a book 2,000 years ago, so I deserve this shit. Huh? I deserve this land because in a book it told me that? Get the fuck out of here. You sound stupid.
Are they going to, any of those terrorist acts against Palestinians and other Arabs and other people, are they going to cover any of that? Israel's support of apartheid in South Africa, is any of that going to be covered in this? Or is it just all the terrorist acts of Arabs?
Television to broadcast their demands. If they don't get that, they say, they will begin killing the passengers.
The Palestinian Liberation Organization, or the PLO, was the main group that people identify as commandeering the Palestinian issues. Yasser Arafat becomes this archetype of the PLO.
I have come bearing an olive branch and a freedom fighter's gun. Do not let the olive branch fall from my hand.
Arafat had always presented himself as a freedom fighter, but in the context of the U.S., Arafat was a terrorist.
The American Jewish community regarded.
Do you hear that? Do you hear that? How he just matter-of-factly just called him a terrorist? Let's rewind that. Look how he just matter-of-factly just called him a terrorist.
A freedom fighter's gun. Do not let the olive branch fall from my hand.
Arafat.
So Arafat is actually saying, hey, you know what? I'm extending the olive branch and let's utilize this shit. But this fucking coon ass nigga makes that to be, oh, well, he's just a terrorist. No. Let me give you an example. Hold on. Let me find this shit real quick because I want y'all to see this. I want y'all, hold on. I was watching this shit today. Let me find this shit. Damn, please let me find this shit. Where's this shit? I was watching this earlier today. Where's this motherfucker? This dude says something so crazy. I'm watching this shit. He said something so crazy, and at first I was like, damn, I don't know. But when he explained it, I was like, yeah, I get it. Hold on, where's this shit? I was watching this shit earlier today. I'm trying to, hold on, where the fuck is this shit? Damn. Hold on, give me a second. I'm gonna find this shit. Cause I gotta find this shit, bro. This nigga said some crazy shit. Oh, here it is right here. Here it is, right motherfucking here. Here it is, right here. I want y'all to see this shit. I want y'all to pay the fuck attention.
Military ships sailing to.
I want y'all to.
Being a friend.
I want y'all to hear this shit, and I want y'all to pay the fuck attention.
And to the United States, it's the relationship goes. I need to add that this
against China will trigger the enemy state clause in the United Nations Charter.
So basically what they're talking about is you have one of the diplomats from China and you have a diplomat from Japan, because what's going on in Southeast Asia, you have the Japanese and America, they doing some bullshit. They going through the straits of Taiwan, and they doing some bullshit, and China's like, nah, we're not gonna accept that. We're not finna allow you motherfuckers to do this shit, because what happened is after World War II, you had China that pretty much submitted. China submitted, and it was like, damn, because China was fucking their ass up. Excuse me, my bad. Japan was fucking their ass up. So China submitted. They had about 35 million motherfuckers, 35 million Chinese niggas that died. After America dropped the fucking bomb on that shit, they was like, all right, we're gonna submit, but just stay out of our shit. We're gonna stay out of your shit. But hold on, let me find the part.
Enabling China to take unilateral military action to prevent the rearmament of Japan. And
do you take the point, Victor, or do you disagree? Are you threatening?
Absolutely not. There is only one person and one country which are threatening. That is Prime Minister Takaichi of Japan and the Japanese government, which want to go deeper and deeper into remilitarization, which may be considered as the remilitarization and the new Japanese fascism. And allow me to make this point again.
He's talking about the Prime Minister of Japan, this new woman. She's far right wing. She's being influenced by fucking America, and she's about to get their shit fucking fucked up. But check it out.
Japan should never be allowed to constitute another military threat against China. And the moment they constitute a threat or to threaten to use war against China will trigger the enemy state clause in the United Nations Charter, enabling China to take unilateral military action to prevent the rearmament of Japan and the reappearance of Japanese fascism in Japan. And allow me to mention, this is not a threat. This is carved in stone. The moment Japan possesses nuclear weapon will be the annihilation of Japan as a state, period.
Did you hear what the fuck he just said? And he did not mince words. He did not mince words. He said the moment that Japan gets a fucking nuclear weapon, that's gonna be the fucking day that Japan no longer fucking exists. The day that they get a fucking nuclear weapon, Japan would no longer fucking exist. That fucking island of Japan, because Japan is really on a fucking island. He said the moment they get a fucking nuclear weapon, they would no longer fucking exist. As a state, they won't fucking exist anymore. Let me rewind that. And I'll break it down. The fucking moment that they get a nuclear weapon, they won't exist anymore. Because China is about to blow that bitch off the fucking map.
To prevent will trigger the enemy state clause, which may be considered as the remilitarization and the new Japanese fascism. And allow me to make this point again. Japan should never be allowed to constitute another military threat.
Right. So he's saying Japan should never, ever get into the position that they were when Japan was in the 30s, because when Japan had power, they infiltrated and ran through motherfucking China. They had power. So if you know anything about World War II, Japan just straight ran through fucking China, killed 35 million Chinese motherfuckers. And he's saying, yo, we powerful enough now. We got nukes. We never gonna let the motherfuckers get a leg up. I'm gonna make it make sense in a second.
Against China. And the moment they constitute a threat or to threaten to use war against China will trigger the enemy state clause.
The moment these motherfuckers try to level up, it's gonna constitute us to fuck with them, because we saw what they did to us in the 1930s, and they killed millions of us when we allowed Japan to get big. So we're not gonna allow that shit no more.
In the United Nations Charter, enabling China to take unilateral military action to prevent the rearmament of Japan and the reappearance of Japanese fascism in Japan. And allow me.
He said, "Yo, we not finna allow fucking Japan to go through this this fascistic state, to go through this fascism. We don't give a fuck if it's America, if they putting a battery in the back of Japan. If these niggas want to deal with this fascism the way how they had in the 30s, and they came over here and slaughtered fucking over 30 million fucking Chinese people, we're not gonna allow them to do it."
Me to mention, this is not a threat. This is carved in stone. The moment Japan possesses nuclear weapon will be the annihilation of Japan.
The moment these motherfuckers get a fucking nuclear weapon, we're gonna just have to just eradicate these motherfuckers and take them off of the map. He said the moment they get a fucking nuclear weapon, we're gonna have to take these motherfuckers off of the goddamn map, and you won't be able to go to China for 100 years. My bad. You won't be able to go to Japan for 100 years. It's gonna be that much fucking nuclear fallout because we're gonna just eradicate these motherfuckers off of the goddamn planet. We're gonna eradicate these motherfuckers off of the goddamn planet because in the 70s, China got nukes, and you notice America don't fuck with people that got nukes. They don't fuck with people that got nukes. So Japan can take the bait all they want to. America is egging these motherfuckers on to fuck with China. Yo, these Chinese niggas are not playing with these motherfucking Japanese niggas, bro. They're like, yo, China's policy is we would never shoot the first nuke. But their policy is we would never shoot the first nuke, but we won't let you get that second one off. We won't shoot the first one, but you won't get a second one off.
As a state, period.
Yeah.
Prime Minister Takaichi, I hope you will listen to me.
Oh, I'm sure she will.
He's talking about the prime minister. He's like, bitch, I hope you're listening, because she's a woman. He's like, bitch, I hope you're listening, because no, we ain't doing it. You ain't getting no nukes. You're not about to rearm yourself. No, this shit is not happening. If you motherfuckers ever try to get big again and try to do something, we finna completely kill that fucking island of Japan, and nobody will be able to go there for 100 years until the fucking wasteland. Yeah, we about to lay waste to this shit. And I respect that. And the reason why I pull this up is because to show you that America does not respect anybody without a nuke. Look at just a small little fucking country like North Korea. Does America fuck with them? No. Why? Because they got nukes. North Korea is on some shit like, hey, nigga, I'm willing to shoot all 10 of these shits we got. Nigga, this shit finna hit, this shit about to hit New York. What you got? 10 million people? Kill every bitch in they mammy. Everything moving. We finna kill everything in New York. We finna kill everything in motherfucking Los Angeles. Everything in Miami. Everything in Nashville, Tennessee. We got 10 of these hoes. And we gonna shoot all these bitches. You maybe be able to shoot 2 of them down, but we finna kill like 100 million motherfuckers. And there's only 300 million people in America. And they're populated in cities like New York, all this shit. So yeah, that's why they don't fuck with them niggas. They're like, bruh, nigga, we only got 30 million people over here. If you really want to do something, America, if you really want to do something, nigga, we could do it for real. We could really get this shit popping. Leave us the fuck alone and let us do our shit that we doing. Leave us alone. Let us just do our thing that we were doing. This is why America don't fuck with these people. If you got a nuke, America leaves you alone. This is what's going on actually in fucking the Middle East. Because what America wants Iran to get rid of their fucking nuke program, and they don't want them to make nukes. They want them to get rid of that nuclear program, don't make no fucking nukes, give up all of their shit. So then whenever America wants to test them or fuck with them, they have to abide by what America says. Fuck that. Fuck that. The motherfuckers is like, yo, nah, we're not giving up our nuclear program because we know if we give up our, if we give you niggas all our fucking nukes, you niggas can just come in and just take over anytime you fucking want, and we can't do nothing about it. we don't have anything to stop you from doing that shit. Even if we had 2 or 3 of these motherfuckers, we can aim these bitches at New York and fucking Los Angeles, and we could take out fucking 20 million motherfuckers right quick, gone. And we know you niggas don't want that. We know you don't want that. This is why they leave North Korea alone. Because, listen, Kim Jong-un, he's on some shit like, bruh, I only got 30 million people. Nigga, let's do you really want to play chess, or are you faking jacks, nigga? Do you really want to? Because if we really want to play chess, nigga, I'll sacrifice my rook just so I can get your motherfucking queen. Do you really want to play this game? America don't want to play that game, bro. America does not want to play that motherfucking game. Be with a crazy motherfucker that at all times his hand is on the button, nigga. You can't assassinate that nigga. He sleeps with his hands on a button to where he'll push that shit. And then boom, nigga, what? Leave him the fuck alone. Leave Kim Jong-un alone. Don't let this motherfucker push that shit, because now you got fucking 20 nukes headed to motherfucking America and there's nothing you can do to stop it. Yeah, you may shoot down 2 or 3 of them, nigga, but it's 20 coming. Nigga, the shit that you used to know as Los Angeles, that shit is gone. It don't exist no more. That shit you used to know as Los Angeles is gone. When that shit, bro, when a nuclear bomb hit Los Angeles, that shit is not only destroying Los Angeles, it's killing LA County. It's destroying all of that shit. It's killing everything, nigga. Within a fucking 10-mile radius, it's killing everything. There's nothing you can do to get out of this shit. There's nothing you can do to get away from it. Nigga, he could push the motherfucking button and guess what? America, you think the president's finna let you know, hey, gonna put out some kind of edict or some shit to be like, hey, Los Angeles, it was nice knowing y'all, but North Korea has just launched. By the time he's done with that statement, by telling you, hey, North Korea has just launched some nuclear weapons, nigga, you blow the fuck up. Donald Trump can't even tell you quick enough. You can't even get the fuck out of the city fast enough. When that nigga Kim Jong-un pressed the button, them shits is aimed at fucking, cause the closest place is fucking Los Angeles. That's the closest place. That nigga finna turn that bitch into a motherfucking sweatshop. Like, that shit is about to be out of there, bruh. Like, nobody's living. Nigga, San Diego, you want to go to the beach? Nigga, you ain't doing that shit on the West Coast. That shit is about to be like a fucking foundry, nigga. Like, what the fuck you talking about? You think you about to go to the West Coast to go to the beach and Kim Jong-un done blew that shit apart, nigga? You can't go there for about 50 to 100 years with all of that motherfucking nuclear fallout. Nigga, you can't go back. Nigga, everybody dead, nigga. The motherfuckers is dust. That shit is dust, nigga. You can't go back to that shit. There's nothing there for you. That shit, niggas finna just evaporate. When a nuclear bomb hit, bro, that shit evaporate, bro. You evaporate. You, like, what happens is your skin, all of the fucking fluids in your body, that shit evaporates because the shit is so hot. All of that shit evaporates, and the only thing left is your fucking bones. And even your fucking bones, them shits turn to fucking dust. Because when that shit dry, it's just so hot. It's so fucking hot that like your remains can't even be alive. Can't stay. Your remains don't even stay. What's gonna happen is if a nuclear bomb ever hit and you in the midst of that shit, the first thing is gonna happen, all of the fluids in your body, them shits are gonna evaporate. All of the water in your body, that shit's gonna evaporate just due to the heat. Just due to the heat, everything's gonna evaporate. Your skin, that shit's gonna evaporate. And then left was gonna be your fucking bones. And then when the second wave of that bitch come through, it's just gonna take away all of the fucking dust and blow that shit around to where nobody would ever even know you fucking existed. Nobody would ever know you even existed, my nigga. And this nigga Kim Jong-un got his hand on the fucking button and telling Trump, nigga, stop fucking with us, bro. Catch up with your crowd, my nigga. Leave us the fuck alone. We doing our own thing. Catch up with your crowd, my nigga. Leave us the fuck alone. This is why America don't fuck with niggas that got nukes. And this is what China is telling these Japanese niggas. You niggas live on a small island. Why you fucking with us? Why you fucking with us? Do you know that we can evaporate your shit? Bro, America dropped 2 fucking bombs, and that was in 1946. They got shit that hit 10 times harder than that now. To where they don't have to just hit 2 cities. They dropped that shit on 4 cities. Nigga, Japan is done. The shit doesn't exist anymore. What you know to be Japan, it doesn't exist. The shit that they dropped on Japan, that shit was leveling city blocks for about like a 10-mile radius. The shit they got now, nigga, it's 100-mile radius. 100-mile radius. They getting rid of everything, nigga. They getting rid of everything. Nigga, the Japanese are gonna they're gonna go out the way of the fucking American Indians. It's gonna be so hard to find a fucking Japanese nigga, it's gonna be crazy. The same way how we look at goddamn Americans, Indians, be like, damn, that's American Indian. It's gonna be like that for these Japanese niggas. If they ever fucking rearm themselves. This nigga's telling you. He like, nah, bro, we finna get that shit the fuck out of there. They won't gotta get a chance. They won't get a chance to breathe.
Do you get a sense, Pascal, that China has for too long felt like a country that the West has ill-treated historically, and even you can, I guess, make the argument more recently? And within the last year, since I've been following the story, and both of you are a lot more connected and a lot smarter than I am when it comes to this. But I have gotten a sense, as a journalist, as an outsider, that China is kind of asserting itself with the kind of language that we just heard from Victor, more than they ever had in the past. Do you see this too, Pascal?
I had a little bit of difficulties to understand the question, but one thing I need to add at this point is just also that the Japan's current approach to its military strategy also has just as much to do with the United States as it has with China, because the United States, on the one hand, is putting a lot of pressure on Japan to remilitarize. On the other hand, it also is proving to be a very unreliable partner, and this was already.
But that's precisely the problem. Is that America is an unreliable partner. It's because America is telling these Japanese motherfuckers, yeah, go ahead and do this. We got your back. Go ahead and do this. We got your back. But these motherfuckers are about to be evaporated. They're about to be evaporated. And Japan is like taking the bait. Like, yeah, fuck them Chinese niggas. We got 200 million niggas. They got 1.5 billion niggas. Fuck them. Nah, this ain't the fucking China of the 19 motherfucking 30s to where you could just go and just kill these niggas off. This ain't the fucking China of old, bro. This is the new China. And these niggas will drop this shit on your motherfucking head and just get you the fuck out, get you out of there. And even if America want to jump back, nigga, they finna send them shits over to America and say fuck them. It's 1.5 billion Chinese, bro. It's 1.5 billion Chinese. We only got 300 million niggas in America. If they can wipe out fucking 100 million Americans, and if America wipe out, let's say 200 million Chinese, nigga, they still got 1.3 billion of them. They can duplicate. They can replicate themselves. Nigga, we can't. China's not fucking with niggas, bro. They're not fucking with you niggas.
Perceived during the first Trump administration, and it is perceived so even more now. So what the Japanese are thinking about right now is how to guarantee their national security, perceiving that there are threats from North Korea and from China and potentially even South Korea. I mean, depending on how the relationship goes. At the moment, it's a little bit better, but there were quite bad times as well. And the countries do not take decision based upon like a bird's eye perspective of the next 50, 60, 70 years. They take decisions based upon how they perceive threats at the moment. And the threat for Japan at the moment is abandonment by the United States and assertive action by China and North Korea on the other hand. And so they are now trying to develop more capabilities locally. They do not try to develop nuclear weapons. The three nuclear no's are still carved in stone as far as we go now. So and Japan has constrained its military for the last 75 years very much. So I do not see a fundamental change in that approach, but in the acquisition of weapons and its in its military doctrine of what can be striked at.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me, Pascal?
Yes.
Okay. There's a famous quote I think both of you are probably familiar with. I think it's a fascinating quote. It says something like this: being the friend of the United States is dangerous. Pardon me. Being the enemy of the United States is dangerous. Being a friend to the United States is fatal. Could China be, could Japan be falling into the trap of allowing the United States to egg it on?
Yes, that's what's happening. Because being a friend to the United States is a bad thing. Because they're gonna get egged on and engage in proxy wars and end up getting all of these motherfucking Japanese niggas evaporated by a thermonuclear fucking missile. This is what's going to happen if they don't get the fuck out of the Straits of Taiwan. If they don't get the fuck out of the Straits of Taiwan, this is what's going to happen. China has warned these motherfuckers, get the fuck out of there. Get out. Get the fuck out.
Almost in a wrong direction, which is what is causing this ire from the Chinese. Pascal, I'll let you attack that first, since you brought this up just a little while ago.
Japan, the U.S.-Japan alliance is to Japan what NATO is to the Europeans. It's the backbone of all of their security thinking. Yeah. And while they clearly want to maintain that, they are aware of the danger of entrapment and being pushed into something that they don't want. And let me say so, like, dying for Taipei is not a popular slogan among the population of Japan.
Yeah, you're right. These motherfuckers don't want to die for Taipei, but America is egging these motherfuckers on. Like, yeah, continue to send your goddamn ships over there into the fucking Straits of Taiwan and see what the fuck happened. China's telling these motherfuckers to get the fuck out, but they won't get out. Like during the 50s, America was able to send their ships, their warships, to those fucking straits. They were able to do it because America was the ruling power. But now they can't do that shit no more. China's like, yo, get the fuck out of our waters, bro. Like, get the fuck out of our waters. And they go, like, the Straits of Taiwan is literally fucking 200 miles off of fucking China. They're like, yo, get the fuck out of here, bro. We don't want you niggas over here. And if it takes us to fucking level this shit and destroy this shit, we just gonna fucking do it. And dare you niggas to jump bad, and you niggas won't do shit. So, like, America is sending these niggas on a fucking death mission. And, like, it's fucked up and it's sad, but America's sending these Japanese niggas on a death mission, bro. Like, get the fuck out of these waters. You niggas is sending your ships 200 miles away from fucking Hong Kong, Beijing. Like, yo, these niggas don't want you over there. Get the fuck out of there. But Japan is like, man, fuck them niggas. We gonna do what we want to do. No, get the fuck out of there, bro. Because these niggas will level your shit.
Japan, whatever.
It makes sense. Like, in the fucking 70s, when China got a fucking nuke, America stopped fucking with them. And they said, well, let's open up diplomacy. When China got a fucking nuke in the 70s, they was like, okay, what about that diplomacy shit you was talking about? Yeah. Because they don't fuck with nobody that got nukes. China looking like, man, get the fuck out my face, bro. Get these people out of our waters. We don't want these people around, because if they do something stupid from one of these ships and shoot something off, we not only gonna blow up the fucking ship, but we just gonna blow up their whole fucking country and just kill every bitch and their mammy. Like, don't even try to egg us on.
The current prime minister is saying. The problem that we have now is that because she said that and there was a big reaction from China, there's actually a good part of the Japanese population who now thinks, oh, we need to stand up to China. We end up in this kind of stupid, who has the stronger words kind of situation, which is really what I think the Japanese government should do everything it can to get out of, because these words unfortunately started it.
Yeah, it's about lowering the heat. Hey, I'm wondering, Victor, who are these far-right forces in Japan? I keep hearing Chinese officials refer to. Who are these far-right forces that you're referring to?
Well, these people keep going to the so-called Yasukuni Shrine, the center of Japan, Tokyo, to pay respect to those war criminals hanged by the Far East Military Tribunal after Japan unconditionally surrendered. They want to continue to embrace the spirits and the ghosts of the Japanese fascists. They want to resurrect their militarism to constitute threat to China and other countries. This is what we call the remnants of the Japanese fascism. They do exist, including, most likely, Prime Minister Takaichi. She wants to visit Yasukuni Shrine again. She visited it again.
So he's calling the prime minister, he's calling her a fascist. He's like, man, look, we're not fucking with this fascistic society and regime that these motherfuckers got. We ain't fucking with this, bro. And watch, he's about to double down. Watch.
Again and again, throughout her political career. We want to make it clear, the moment she visits Japanese shrine again, in her capacity as the sitting Prime Minister of Japan, she will forever destroy any remaining goodwill between China and Japan. She will carve herself into a new Japanese fascism. So we want to give this warning to Japanese politicians and the Japanese government that it is time for you to sever any association with Japanese fascism, and you should never allow the rise of Japanese fascism again. We do not want to see any iota of Japanese fascism occurring anywhere in Japan, especially among the ranks of the Japanese high-ranking officials, including Prime Minister Takaichi.
Let's talk about the people. I just spent a weekend.
You're like, yeah, if this bitch Takaichi wanna go the way of her forefathers, and she wanna engage in this fascistic bullshit, we don't want to see her go the way of that. But if she does do that, we got something for her ass. Because China like, nah, bro, we not finna. Y'all got us in World War I, y'all got us in World War II, but you niggas never finna get us again. And this is what he's saying.
In Iran, and I went there thinking that the Iranian people, as a Westerner, as an American, I've always been told the Iranian people are dangerous, religious fanatics, hateful, can't stand the West, can't stand Americans. And yet when I got there, I found just the opposite. They're wonderful, kind, pleasant people who probably know more about America than many Americans do and do not hate Americans. When I hung out with Victor in China, I also had a sense that there was a certain antagonism at the time between the United States and China. And I got a sense from the Chinese people, they have nothing against Americans in general. I asked that question to you, Pascal, because I'm thinking, if I were to go to Japan tomorrow and I talked to the people and stopped in the streets and did man on the street interviews, would I get a sense that the Japanese people hate the Chinese people?
No. I just had dinner with a Chinese friend tonight over here, and we actually talked about that. There is no general hatred in Japan towards China or the Chinese. For a matter of fact, a lot of plots of land in Kyoto these days are owned by Chinese because Chinese citizens can buy.
And see, this is the problem. Herein lies the fucking problem. Is because what he's saying is, well, he understands what the Japanese people have done to the Chinese people, but the everyday person on the street, the everyday Japanese person doesn't hate the everyday Chinese person. They don't hate them. But this is what they do to sow discord, is the government does this shit. So let's take that and transpose that to us here in America. The everyday fucking American, we don't hate no fucking Mexican immigrant. We don't hate no fucking immigrant from South America. We don't hate them. But it's the government that's fomenting this type of fucking hate. It's the government that's doing this shit. Most people don't want to go to fucking war. Most people just want to live their life and be cool. But it's the government that's doing this shit. It's the government that's doing it. The average fucking black person don't give a fuck about a damn Jew. We don't give a fuck. But it's the government that's causing this shit. It's the government that's causing this shit. Because the government wants the average person to look at these other particular people a certain fucking way. It's the government doing this shit.
Property in Japan, develop it, put Airbnbs on it, use it as a business, rent it out, or use it as a weekend getaway. There is no institutional kind of hatred at all. One thing the Japanese currently are bothered with is over-tourism. But over-tourism across the board, and that is not specific towards Chinese. There are right-wing idiots in black cars with ugly flags and so on that are very noisy and that shout despicable stuff about Chinese and about Koreans into the general.
He's basically saying that you have a version of MAGA in Japan to where these motherfuckers don't like Chinese, they don't like Koreans, whether it be North Koreans or South Koreans, when they come on holiday to visit, they don't like them. Same shit here in America. You got it's mainly white motherfuckers that have a problem with South Americans, with fucking anybody that comes from anywhere in America that's not from the United States. So you have this section of people that have an issue with South Americans. They have this issue with North Americans that may come from Canada. So this is what he's saying.
General population. They are a tiny minority and they are hated by everybody because they're so noisy and and scary. They do exist, yes, and these people, they are. I couldn't agree with Victor more. They are despicable, but they are a tiny minority. Luckily, they are also very noisy. But the general population has no bad blood against China and the Chinese whatsoever.
Let me ask you the same question, Victor. Do you get a sense in China that there is a resentment against Japan? I understand the historics, obviously. The things that happened prior to and during World War II were just completely some of the worst atrocities in the history of the world. I get it. But today, just as a relationship, do the Chinese hate the Japanese still?
Absolutely not. I personally stand for the proposition that between China and Japan and the Chinese people and the Japanese people, we should have friendship for generations to come, for millenniums to come. But that proposition has a precondition. That is, Japan will never allow the re-arrival of Japanese fascism and Japanese new militarism. That is the precondition. We do not want to see any military threat from Japan.
Yeah, he's saying, look, man, I'm cool with these Japanese niggas and they alright, but you know, we can't allow the militarism for you to increase in your militarism. We can't allow for the increase of your fascism, of what you did in the 30s and 40s. Nigga, we ain't gonna allow that shit. Like he's doubling down.
And again, against China, we do not want to see as what we call Japanese devils, because in the Second World War, between 1931 to 1945, Japanese soldiers killed up to 35 million Chinese people, including soldiers as well as civilians. We never want to suffer that specter again. We want to see Japan forever be committed to peace and to friendship with China and other neighboring countries. And we want to see Japan never scheming another bombing of Pearl Harbor. My suspicion is Prime Minister Takaichi's worst indulgence is to create a military confrontation between China and Japan and push the United States into this war. They want to bind the United States onto the bandwagon of Japan's anti-China policy. I think the Americans are much smarter than that. They will not forget Pearl Harbor. They will not.
No, unfortunately, brother, we're not smarter than that. As long as Trump is in office, we're not smarter than that. Trump is gonna continue to egg on the fucking Japanese, and you know, you as the China people, if you gotta fucking, you know, drop a few nukes and get them the fuck out of there, then that's what it's gotta be. And sorry for the niggas that live on the West Coast, but since Japan and America are allies, if that's the motherfucking case, and they wipe out all of fucking Japan from fucking existence, America is gonna fucking attack China. And if that does work that way, then if you live in New York City, or if you live in fucking a coastal city such as fucking you know, one of these places like LA or Seattle, get the fuck out, because China is gonna destroy that shit. They're gonna totally destroy that shit. So yeah, they're warning you right now. But America won't stop. Donald Trump is pig-headed. He's a fucking idiot. He's going to make sure that you know, Japan is wiped the fuck out. And I'll tell you, if Japan gets wiped out, America is gonna fight back, and they're gonna shoot missiles or whatever the case may be. The moment that you hear that Japan is at war with China, get the fuck off of Coastal City. Get the fuck out of there. Because you about to get some nukes coming your motherfucking way. Get out of that Coastal City. I don't give a fuck if you got a home there or whatever. Get the fuck out of there. Because these Chinese niggas, they not playing, bruh. They about to wipe that shit out. So if you in fucking LA County or whatever the fuck, or if you in Seattle, that whole West Coast, yeah, that shit's done. That shit's finished, my nigga. They finna turn that shit into a fucking parking lot. Yeah, they about to kill everything moving. So yeah, China about to, yeah, they gonna turn that shit into a parking lot. So get the fuck out as soon as you see fucking China and fucking goddamn Japan going at it, get the fuck out of there, bro. Because China's gonna go so far as to nuke that shit and kill everything moving, and then America's gonna be like, oh, here's our turn. We can just drop nukes on fucking China. And it's not gonna work out how you think it's gonna work out. It's just not. It's just not. Hopefully the world sits back and allows this shit to work, and the world sits back and says, hey, you niggas is going at each other. Let's allow China to fucking totally fucking evaporate the fucking Western seaboard, and America can fucking totally wipe out the Eastern seaboard of China, and it's over. So America's gonna wipe out Hong Kong, Beijing, Chongqing. They're gonna wipe out. America's gonna wipe out all of that shit. Chongqing, Hong Kong. America's gonna kill everything moving. They're gonna get all of that shit out of there. So hopefully after China sends their shit, America sends their shit. It's like, okay, you've wiped out the American Western seaboard. China says, hey, you've wiped out our Eastern seaboard. Can we stop? Hopefully that's just it. I pray that's just going to be the end of it. I pray that's going to be the end of it. And then from there, we just rebuild, and then we sign another truce, some kind of armistice, and we go from there. But, you know, knowing Donald Trump, he's not going to want to sign a fucking armistice. He's not going to want to fucking stop. He's going to probably want to keep going. And that's when they start fucking sending shit to Middle America. So this is where places like places in the middle of America starts to get targeted. Not like Ohio, but like more Western. You know what I'm saying? Not like Ohio or like fucking y'all good. Y'all gonna be all right. You know, the East Coast niggas is gonna be all right. But that whole Western seaboard, you niggas is gonna be evaporated. You're gonna be dead within 20 minutes, because when they send that shit, you got less than fucking 20 minutes to fucking move around, and that's not enough time for you to get out of the city. All them niggas is dead. Like that fucking, like if you in Chicago and the nuclear war break out, you alright. you alright. You gonna be good. You know what I'm saying? You in some like that Minnesota shit, you alright. But yeah. Like that whole West Coast of America, that shit is done. If you in China and you in the Chongqing area, you in the Beijing area, you in the Hong Kong area, yeah, you dead. You dead. There's no way for you to get the fuck out. There's no way. You in Chongqing, yeah, there's no way for you to get out. It's just not enough time. You're gonna get like a fucking warning, and then it's over. It's over. There's not enough time for you to get the fuck out of Beijing or Chongqing. Like it's just not enough time. Like you're dead. And the only thing you're gonna see is just like thousands of cars on the fucking highway with nobody in them, and it won't even be like you'll probably just maybe see like blood in the cars, but the people, their bones are gonna be fucking evaporated. Like you might just see like blood in cars just from the initial burst, to where when the shit hits you, it heats you up so fast to where like your body bursts. So it may be a little bit of blood, but that's it. Like there's no way to get away from this shit. You're dead, and you're gonna see the same shit. You're gonna see thousands of cars on the 405 freeway, but there's gonna be nobody in those cars. There's gonna be no traces of anybody in those cars. There's not gonna be any bones. You're just gonna see blood in the cars from the first initial blast. So where you just see blood, and then the blast is gonna evaporate all of the fucking bones. It's gonna evaporate everything in your fucking body. So yeah, there's not gonna be anything. So yeah, most of you niggas is gonna die. So if they keep going the way that they're going now, I advise you niggas to get the fuck out of. I advise you right now to get the fuck out of the West Coast right now, because if these motherfuckers keep doing what they doing, yeah, you niggas is done. So you can get the fuck out of the West Coast right now, or you can suffer the consequences. Most people don't know, and this is what they're like betting on. They're betting on motherfuckers not knowing, because Donald Trump is willing to give you up so he can continue doing whatever the fuck he's doing. Like he's willing to sacrifice your life. He don't give a fuck about your life. Like your life is meaningless, nigga. He's willing to sacrifice your shit. He don't give a fuck. Like nigga, if you was out of here today or tomorrow, he wouldn't give a fuck. So he's cool. But yeah, the nuclear winter is coming. A lot of niggas want to play around with it, but if Japan keep doing what they doing, dominoes are gonna fall. People are gonna be pushed, and this is what's gonna happen. So I hope y'all ready. You know, I live on the East Coast of America, so I can drive over to Tennessee in about an hour. You niggas can't get to Middle America. You niggas that's living on the West Coast, you can't get to Middle America. I can get to Middle America in an hour. If motherfuckers say, Chinese motherfucking bombs are coming, I can get to fucking Tennessee in an hour, nigga. I can get to Tennessee in an hour. A lot of you niggas can't. And that's just what it is. So just hope. If I don't know if you got any hope, just hope it don't go that way. But fuck hope, nigga. We can see it. But yeah, let me get my ass up out of here, man. It's already fucking 2:34 in the morning. I hope you guys enjoyed the live stream. Yeah, man, I definitely enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed the live stream. I hope you guys enjoyed it. You know, my main thing is to try to teach and try to explain some of these geopolitical things that are going on, because a lot of people don't fucking know about this. They don't watch, like, they're not watching this random ass show. Journalistically speaking, with Rick Sanchez, like, they're not watching this shit. Like, the average person is not watching this shit. They're not listening to the Chinese diplomat say, yo, if niggas do this, we finna evaporate these niggas. Like, niggas ain't listening to that shit, bro. So I'm glad I was able to bring this to you guys, because most people don't know. In America, they don't want you to know. Like, this right here should be front page fucking news. This should be front page news to where this should be all niggas is talking about for the next 2 weeks, to where the diplomat of fucking China is saying, like, nigga, they about to evaporate fucking Japan if these niggas aggress upon them. But this shit ain't even front page news. It shows you, it tells you how much bullshit is going on in the world, that this is not front page news. That you have one country, you have country A telling country B, bro, we about to get rid of y'all if y'all is on this bullshit. But it's not even front page news. It's not even front page news, which tells you what our news is actually doing. This shit is not working for us. It took me to come and tell y'all that, yo, we're literally on the brink of a fucking nuclear fucking winter. Like, we're on the brink of this shit. And the fucking Chinese diplomat is like using this threatening language, but you would never see this shit on Fox News. They're not talking about this shit. They talking about Trump and whatever type of stupid shit he done did. MSNBC, that they covering Trump's State of the Union address, but there's other pressing issues like that's going on in geopolitics that motherfuckers ain't even talking about, bro. Like, you literally have the diplomat of China saying, we about to get these niggas the fuck out of there if they make the wrong move, and it's not even front page news. Like, you don't even see this shit when you open your phone. There should be, bro, there should be mass notifications that are going out right now that a Chinese diplomat says that they're willing to go to nuclear war if Japan continues to aggress upon China. That should be front page news, but it's not. That should be front page news, but it's not. Ain't that crazy? That we could be in the middle of a fucking nuclear winter, but niggas is talking about some stupid shit that Donald Trump said last night that we know is garbage. And, like, come on. And they trying to pick apart all of the fucking lies that he said last night, knowing that all the fuck he does is lie. All he does is lie. And they trying to pick apart his lies to show you that he was actually lying. Like, no, bro. How the fuck is this not front page news to where you have a fucking Chinese diplomat that's threatening another country to make them no longer fucking exist? You have a diplomat from a country that's threatening niggas and said, nigga, you niggas is not gonna fucking exist anymore if y'all fuck with us. This shit ain't even front page news. This is how far we've fallen with this Donald Trump shit. This is how much of a fucking nuisance. And I don't even want to call him a nuisance, but I just couldn't find a better word. This is how much of a fucking nuisance that Donald Trump has become. That we can't even look at actual fucking geopolitics and what's actually going on, bro. We can't even look at geopolitics. You have one country threatening to wipe another fucking country off of the face of this fucking earth, but it doesn't get front page news. It doesn't even get front page news. Because Donald Trump said some stupid shit in his State of the Union last night. Ain't that crazy? Ain't that fucking wild, though? You literally have a country that's threatening another country to wipe them off of the fucking map. And MSNBC, Fox News, CNN, nobody's talking about it. Nobody's talking about this shit. But little old Cube, I bring this shit to y'all. That's crazy as fuck, bro. I don't know. That to me, that's wild as shit. Cause I'm looking at this shit. I'm like, damn, bro. Like we could literally, like, this could be the start of World War III, and nobody's talking about it. Literally, nobody's talking about it. It shows you how much America and Americans got their heads so much up our own fucking asses. Like, our heads are so much up our own fucking asses that we don't even give a fuck about geopolitics anymore. Everything's centered around what the fuck Donald Trump is gonna fucking do. What is he gonna say? What is he gonna do? Like, so fuck geopolitics? Like, everybody in the world, like, does the world stop now that Donald Trump is in office? And, like, that's kind of what they're doing. So the world is supposed to stop because Donald Trump is in office and he's moving fast and breaking things. Nah, bruh. The world is fucking moving. These motherfuckers, bro, this dude is threatening nuclear warfare. He's threatening nuclear fucking warfare on behalf of fucking China, and you don't see this nowhere in the fucking world that nobody's talking about this shit. Nobody's talking about this shit, bro. Nobody's talking about this shit. How in the fuck is this possible? How is this possible that nobody's talking about this shit? It's crazy. Yeah, we got to get you out of here, bro. I appreciate you, pimp. We appreciate you. We appreciate you. We appreciate you, Bupkiss. We appreciate you, bro. We appreciate you. You are a retard. Okay, yeah. All right. Happy now? Are you happy, bro? God damn. Like, niggas waste their time with silly shit. Oh, God. All right, man. Let me get up out of here, man. I appreciate y'all. You already know what it is. Until next time, it's your brother Outside the Cube. Just, trying to enlighten. Until next time, peace, man.